There we go. Hello, hello. How's everyone doing? Hope you're all having a great day. You all had a good week. Mine's weird, but you know what? What else is new? I think we could have finished last time. We were very close. We're right at the end of the first Great Ace Attorney game, and then we'll start up the second one. I'm trying to remember exactly what happened when we left off. We were showing off a print that was going to be like, kind of blow everything out of the water. Hello, hello, Maya. Hi, wristwatch. And a good evening to you, wristwatch, over there in New Zealand, if I recall correctly. Jesus. Hi. Thank you for sharing your morning with us. Trying to remember now where we were. Right. Okay, I remember now. We were showing off the fact that, the door, right here. No, hold. Over here. Hole. A hole where there was not one before. Magical. This print shows a scene in the shop moments after the defendant entered the premises. Agreed. And it also shows the accused mercilessly wielded a gun in the direction of the defenseless broker. It's not even pointed at him, it's at the sky, damn it. But more to the point, it pictures the storeroom door in the background. Let me see that print again. I don't believe it. That really is quite remarkable. The door to the storeroom is completely devoid of a peephole of any description. Mr. Graydon. This asshole's about to fucking get it. You couldn't possibly have witnessed the crime as you claim to have done. Oh, mystery hole is mystic. Hole is glorious hole. Because at the time it happened, there was no peephole in the door. In other words, your testimony is a catalog of lies. Now you fucked up. Now you fucked up. Now you fucked up. Order! 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 I'm satisfied that the defense has substantiated his claim beyond all reasonable doubt. This witness's testimony was clearly fallacious. False. His testimony was completely false. Not true, it was all lies. That's not the only thing we now know beyond all reasonable doubt. My learned friend's assistant guilt can no longer be denied. The woman tampered with the crime scene. Was it not? A little bit. Not really. It was also like, we didn't know it was a crime scene until after she quote-unquote tampered, so that's not really the same thing. But more importantly... Good lord, there's more, Lord Van Zykes. The defense may have established a reprehensible instance of perjury. But that is no proof that this man is the victim's killer. Nope, I kind of figured that would be the case, but also... fuck you. It's like, how is this not connected to something? Clearly there's some... Okay, fuck. Yes. That's right. What? I was there at the scene, it's true. And I was shot in the arm. Wait, now, what was his voice I was doing? It was like, really high part, and I was shot in the arm, it's true. But that's all. Yes, in fact, if you look at the circumstances, I am the victim here. Oh, please. No! I don't believe this. Oh, but they're right. As it stands now, I don't have any definitive proof that he's the culprit. Still, you can't worm his way out of it now. Iris? You know what they say. There's no point in locking the cat's door after the cat has bolted. What do you mean? Isn't that right, Reno? As Hurley always says, one lie begets another. No, wait. That might have been a line I wrote for him in one of my stories. Well, no matter who said it first, you're right. Mr. Graydon, not only did you give false testimony to the court, but the lies you told make no sense. Make no sense? What do you mean by such a remark? What you said in your testimony reveals that you know something you shouldn't have known. In other words, there's a fundamental inconsistency in your statements. What?
Objection!
This is provocative talk, Counsel. Won't you enlighten the court? Explain this alleged inconsistency? I was right. One lie begets another. The inconsistency is revealed by the lies in the witness's statements. They show that Mr. Graydon had knowledge of something he shouldn't have known anything about. Namely, obviously, the bloodstains on the coat. How would he have known if he couldn't actually see them? Because we know that they're there. The bloodstains that were present on Miss Lestrade's coat. That's right. The victim's blood splattered all over her when she shot him. But how could you possibly have known that? Obviously, because I saw her do it through the peephole in the... Oh. Oh, fuck. Well, now, we've talked about the peephole by this point, so that's kind of where that comes from, but still. The point is not that you lied in your testimony, Mr. Graydon. It's the nature of the lie you concocted that is so revealing. You're not making any sense. Then let me ask you a simple question. How is it, Mr. Graydon, that you knew of the existence of the peephole in the storeroom door? Okay, actually, you might have been right. What? Well, obviously, How's a cut from tongue, witness? The peephole in the door was made after the incident occurred, and once I returned to the shop, having failed to catch the two burglars, Scotland Yard's investigators arrived immediately. Since that time, the police have been at Windibanks constantly, carrying out their investigation. Isn't that right, Inspector Gregson?
Well, yes, of course. Police is chock full upon all the cause of my license to thoroughly examine them all. So I gave the order to have officers working round the clock and shifts till we got through it all.
And consequently, there's no way that you, Mr. Graydon, could have gained access to the shop. Yeah, he's on the ropes. We're just gonna tighten that noose just a little bit tighter. Therefore, you should have known nothing about the peephole in the storeroom door. So the fact that its existence forms the basis of your testimony is completely inexplicable.
Objection!
And yet, the fact remains that Mr. Graydon did maintain that he witnessed the crime take place through the peephole in the door. A peephole that, by the way, we've already proved did not exist at the time.
How on earth is that possible?
Could I have a word, please, Lord Von Zox? Speak, Inspector. It's just that I really ought to be getting back to the station now to put on my report. There's really nothing more I can add to this testimony. I hope it's all the same to you. Permission denied. Oh. It's not all the same to me, Inspector. Not at all. You will remain exactly where you are until this trial concludes. Which will hopefully be very soon.
Of course, sir.
Mr. Graydon, you shouldn't have known about the existence of that peephole. Which can only mean that you must have been informed about it by somebody else. Gregson's trying to make a quick escape. And he was chatting with him earlier. I don't like this. Gregson, I liked you. Why did you have to do this?
Objection!
Stop there, my learned friend. You realize, I trust, that the words you just uttered have extremely serious implications. Yes, but the defense believes that the details about the case that Mr. Graydon claims to have seen must have been revealed to him by a certain person before his testimony. And, in fact, Considering the particular clue we have, there's really only one person that could be. Who was the person in question? Wait, clue we have? What clue? What clue do we have that gives this away? I don't know the answer to that one. We'll figure that out as we go. Who gave this witness details of the crime scene to facilitate his false testimony? It was the dead man. No, it was... son of a bitch. Don't want to say it. I don't want to say it.
Take that!
The truth is, it can only have been you, Inspector Gregson. Me.
Objection!
You had better have some proofs to substantiate his rash claim, my learned friend. Consider the fact that we have only been aware of Mr. Ashley Graydon's identity for the last few hours. We learned of it only during the course of the trial today.
Indeed, preparations for his testimony were made with great urgency during our hour-long recess, while the police executed the subpoena and brought the man here from the communication station.
And until that time, Mr. Graydon would have had no idea. No inkling that he would suddenly be required to appear in court.
Are you suggesting that until such time as he was summoned?
Yes, my lord. Until then, it's reasonable to assume he knew nothing of the people. It was only once Mr. Graydon was in the stand that he realized his position. That he would have to defend himself against the accusation that he was the third intruder. Suggesting to the court that it was while this trial was in progress that he received the information. I mean, here's the problem. Gregson and Graydon there were kind of having a bit of a chat off to the side where no one could hear them for a while we were talking to Tweedledee and Tweedledum. So, and he mentioned nothing about the people before that moment either. So that he could commit perjury in order to save his own skin. Exactly. And the only person with knowledge of the investigation that he had any contact with is you, Inspector Gregson.
It is a blooming outrage. Why would I be giving away details of our investigation of this fella, eh? I was summoned to his lordship's chambers during the recess in any case. Had you forgotten that?
Quite true. I had a number of questions regarding the events that transpired at the pawnbroker. Which means the first time these two laid eyes on one another was after proceedings resumed following the recess. Gregson had the disc. I wonder if he knew what was on it. I wonder if he knows. Since they've been in full view of the stand, where such illicit discussions couldn't possibly have occurred. Do you just have a bad memory, or... Ugh. Oh, I just remembered something right now. What is it, Iris? There was one time before, wasn't there? I think it was when Jenny was testifying. Oh, yes, now you mention it. Oh yeah, no, he's very aggressive with his food eating. When the bailiff was dispatched to retrieve McGilda's music box from the scene of the crime. That's it! It was during that testimony! Yeah, those two were just having a nice little chat all of their own. I remember finding it strange at the time. Mr. Graydon and the inspector seemed to be having some kind of secret discussion. It would have been possible for you to give Mr. Graydon the information he needed then.
Look, Torog, you're making all this up. I'm a respectable Scotland Yard inspector, for crying out loud. Why would I do something like that? Why would I be giving all the confidential details to the likes of this bloke?
How many carbs do you think that fish is? Like, it's breaded. Like, I know it's protein, but it's also breaded, so it's like that's gotta be a fair amount. Admittedly, you wouldn't have had any reason to do something like that for no gain. But perhaps it was part of a deal of some kind. Then it starts to make more sense. What deal, Consul? I wonder if perhaps, in exchange for details about the people at the crime scene, Mr. Graydon agreed to give a certain something to the inspector. The second disc, perhaps?
I'm sure I need not remind the inspector that, if found to be true, striking a deal of any kind with a witness
would be considered a gross case of malfeasance.
Yeah, no, that's the wildest part. They were literally, like, colluding in the middle of court, like, right there in full view of everyone, but everyone was just distracted by something a few feet to the left.
Objection! It's becoming clear that jumping in with accusations is this Nipponi student's specialty.
I don't do that.
But with the stakes so high, the prosecution is not prepared to listen to baseless charges. It is incumbent on the defense now to present evidence in support of this diabolical claim.
Evidence?
Just what are you proposing with the inspector demanded of the witness in return? The court must see proof of this alleged deal.
Hold on, what do I have? The box. No, not the box. Station papers. The overcoat. Probably not. Blood samples. Manuscript. Which I still don't know what this has to do with anything, to be honest. This is the only piece of evidence. Whatever. We used that at one point for Virginia, but... let's see here. Helpful. Collusion, perjury, malfeasance, treason, espionage, all of the above. It has to have something to do with this then, right? Autopsy reports, guns. I'm still annoyed at myself for not noticing that. That was fucking clever. It was right there in plain sight. But it's such a small detail. And they purposely draw your eyes to the thing that's even more obvious with this stuff being shifted over a little. This maybe? We'll find out.
If Inspector Gregson really did strike a deal with Mr. Graydon, then logically, there's only one thing he could have asked for. That must be it.
Bruno, do you think it could be?
Yes. It's the missing link that would join all the dots together in this puzzle. I must press you for an answer now, Consul. What evidence explains the nature of the alleged deal that Inspector Gregson made with the witness?
Now, here's where we have a small issue. In regards to what piece of evidence is the actual correct one to present. Because I'm fairly certain it's probably this one, possibly this one. The second disc? Well, the problem is we don't have the second disc. But what explains the nature would probably be this, right? Oh, the music stopped. I think we did it.
Inspector Gregson!
Besides this murder, is it not true that you've been working on another very important case?
Oh, what are you getting at now, Sunshine?
Is it possible this other top secret case is what's alluded to in this newspaper article here? The classified secrets being leaked overseas from the Ministry of Justice?
On the bleeding Nora, could you... Uh-oh.
We discovered during the course of this trial the music box deposit at Windibanks by Magnus McGilded. A special music box designed to play 2 discs at once. It would seem very likely now that encoded on the pair of discs that were in McGilded's possession are the leaked classified secrets. So I put it to you, Inspector, that in order to recover the second of the discs containing those secrets, you covertly made a deal with Mr. Graydon in which you exchanged the disc for details of the case.
You little...
No, that. Oh no, my brain is just like, scream? No, don't scream. If you really want to see me scream, that sub goal over there is for me to play a late night horror game. Of which I am... What game? Don't know. Layers of Fear? Mortuary Assistant? Don't know. We'll figure it out when we get there. On the day of the incident, that was today's shill. No more shilling shall happen today. Probably. When we met you at Windibanks, you said this.
I'll be taking whatever it is and we're going down to the yard. Thank you very much. Signed it over.
Don't give it to him. It's mine, it is. Mine.
I'm sorry, miss. Well, anything belonging to McGill, it has to be taken in as evidence now.
Scotland Yard already knew at that time, isn't that right? that Magnus McGilda was involved in the stealing of government secrets. My orders were cover the medium used to convey the secrets leaked from the ministry, and do it on the QT. Strictly hush-hush. And that explains why, when I presented this disc as evidence to the court, you objected so heavily, I presume? Because you knew that it contained highly confidential information. But I mean, not likely. I wasn't sure of it myself. I realized there's a possibility, that's all. Inspector, surely you aren't saying that in order to acquire the second of these music box discs, you did indeed reveal confidential details of the crime scene to the witness? To aid about this man in giving false testimony? There's no other way that Mr. Graydon could have known of the existence of the peephole. It's the only explanation. A deal was struck between these two men.
Oh, Gregson's about to get his fucking ass handed to him.
If, and I stress if, this sobering assertion turns out to be founded in truth.
Did you not just watch the reactions? Like, dear God, that was pretty damn clear.
It would mean this second disc is, as we speak, here in this very courtroom.
Wait, what?
In this room? How could you possibly make a claim like that?
Because Inspector Gregson is a Scotland Yard detective.
What?
What is that supposed to mean, eh?
As a seasoned policeman, the inspector would have approached this alleged deal with caution.
No, actually, he makes a good point. Gregson wouldn't have necessarily gone into this deal without hard evidence that the disc was right there.
Certainly, he would not have accepted a gentleman's agreement in this manner. No, he would have insisted on having the article agreed upon in the palm of his hand.
Good gracious! Then you mean to say Inspector Gregson already has the item in question in his possession? He has the second disc actually on his person?
Yes! The defense demands that the inspector is searched at once. Definitely. I can only have struck a deal with each other when Jenny was testifying before, and Grexy hasn't moved from the witness stand since. My lord, please! Order an examination of his personal effects immediately.
Well, Inspector?
I tip my hat to you. And there it comes out. This young lad wants to tone down his imagination. Isn't thought at me and my profession quite enough. Well, he's certainly a lot more composed than he was before. However, if we'll put this matter to bed and dispel any doubts about my involvement, I'll happily submit to a body search. What? He's going to agree to it? I presume you're aware of the precipice on which you now dinner, my learned student friend. He doesn't have the disc. Either he never had it or he doesn't have it anymore. He did something with it. You've made a most serious allegation against Scotland Yard here. If, following the search of the inspector's personal effects, no disc is found, you will be deemed unfit for court service. This trial, and I'm pretty sure you don't have the qualifications to make that assessment and to make that call. That's up to the judge. He can put me in contempt of court. That's different, though. In my country's government will formally demand of yours that you are severely reprimanded. But that's what I'm thinking. He passed on to Mr. Pearface over there. I think Nash has it. Because there's almost no way he would have given it back to Ashley Graydon after that. Can we just search everyone that's up in that witness stand? Is that possible? Let's search the stand itself. There might be a hole. That sounds serious.
Indeed. To have a visiting student make such defamatory remarks about our country's most senior police force is not something Her Majesty's government will be able to overlook.
Don't make jokes. Don't make the joke. Don't make any jokes. Don't make any jokes. We're moving on. You're just threatening Rena because you're scared.
The accusation is beyond serious. You must be prepared for grave consequences.
It's true. I can't imagine Gregson would have accepted a gentleman's agreement for something so critical.
That's awesome. Oh, there it is.
The disc must have physically changed hands, which means the inspector should have it. But somehow, something doesn't feel quite right here.
Very well, Consul. You know the implications. So let me ask you one final time.
Yes, my lord.
Do you still persist in formally requesting a search of the Inspector's personal effects?
I want to search somewhere else. I don't think he has it. Yes, the defense formally demands the search be conducted.
Well, don't say you weren't warned, but your typical Nippon stubbornness may well land you in hot water this time. Perhaps the lesson will do you some good.
Fair enough. I'll go not in the hard.
Very well then.
Bailiff, conduct a hold on, I didn't. There we go. There it is. The defense demands a search, but not of Inspector Gregson. Why was the slap so weak? We haven't seen one of those in a very long time.
What?
What? Oh, what's all this? I'm the one you... Oh, no. Oh, one of your kids not, huh? Oh, she wanted to search me. Turns out you haven't. What are yours? Oh, no. I don't want to... No. No, Inspector, not you. Somebody else. What's the meaning of all this, eh? Lost in the last hour, sunshine. Court shouldn't have put up with his nonsense. They're being completely irrational. Am I, though?
Be quiet, all of you.
Wait, who was that? Who said that? Iris? Quiet, all of you. We're just doing what you're telling him to do and having the courage of his convictions. So you should respect that and listen to what he has to say in good faith. Because that's the British way. I love her. She's 10 times smarter than I will ever be.
Well said, young lady. Young lady, indeed this court is in awe of the defense counsel's conviction, and eagerly awaits his next words.
You what? Oh, don't be hasty, my lord. If I'm not mistaken about the things I've seen in court today. I know where it is! I know where it is! I'm fairly certain that I know who has the disc at the moment. There's only one person it could be. I know where it is. I remember. Oh, do y'all remember in the last part when there was only one person that he got near, that he physically touched, that he was manhandling in a very violent manner?
Consul, of whom do you request the search now?
Take that! Of my lord, Mr. Nash Skulkin.
Well, I never.
Block. Me? Him?
Very well then, bailiff. Restrain the witness and conduct a thorough search of his personal effects.
Hold it! Please, my lord.
Inspector.
Scotland Yard asked to object to this search.
Objection!
Unfortunately for you, Inspector, your objections carry no weight here. In this courtroom, only the prosecution and the defense have the authority to object. But Lord Van Sachs, I have no idea what forces are in play that might influence your actions. But personally, I have no intention of obstructing the course of this trial. I find that hard to believe, but okay. Ugh. Also, it's very telling that he...
Bailiff, carry out the search.
That he was very much like... That he wasn't just like, okay, go ahead, search it, we'll see what I fucking care. Now, hold on, Emma. I don't know nothing. Nothing about no disc. Cut it out! Here, my lord. In the witness's pocket. I found this.
Good lord, that's...
Another music box disc. I don't know nothing about it. Nothing. Oh, you fucking fools! That is the second music box disc left behind by Magnus McGilded. Is it not, Inspector Gregson?
over there. Order! 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 Mr. Skulkin, what have you to say for yourself? Gold stars. Yay. Gold stars all around. Because we called it was Nash, and I was the one who remembered exactly when it happened. Oh, Bennett! I mean, Gordon Flynn and Bennett! Thank you. Alright, take that. Hold on, how far can I go with this? Thank you. Close enough. That's what I didn't know nothing about that disc. Honest to God. Consul, would you please explain what exactly is going on here? The alleged deal that was struck was between this witness and this detective, no? Without question, my lord. I love adding just a little bit of sass to him. Then for pity's sake, why on earth was this man in possession of the disc that the inspector traded for information? Inspector Gretchen is a shrewd, calculating man who rarely loses his composure. Bonks. I know that's head pats, but bonks. But at one particular point in this trial, he exhibited some unusual behavior for a brief moment. I don't recall. What unusual behavior? It was, yes, during my cross-examination of Mr. Graydon. He planned this out in advance, just in case this clever bastard. Tell me, Mr. Graydon, when you left the pawnbrokery that night, was it by any chance with the second disc in your jacket pocket? I admit nothing of the sort. I forgot that he hadn't talked in a few minutes. It's been a bit. There it is, that's when he gave it to him. While Mr. Graydon answered my questions, the inspector appeared to have grabbed Nash Skulkin by his coat and was shaking him violently. It didn't know. Well, my noggin was gonna fall clean off, I did. Oh, I wish I'd been born as my brother, I was. And what exactly happened to make the detective attack you like that? I ain't got a clue. I just suddenly turned and grabbed me and I did. Well, and grabbed my whistle like that and started shaking me. What a blaze did you mention the third gun when I got you down the station? That's what it said. It right down my ear, all he did. I had still throbbing now. The way the detective behaved then was extremely out of character. But looking back now, it must have been then that he did it. That was the opportunity Inspector Gregson created for himself in order to hide the disc. Well, bless my wig. He hid it. Ew. I'm afraid I failed to comprehend the motive here. If the detective had acquired the disc he was after, why on earth would he then proceed to hide it in another man's pocket? This is a court of law. He could have submitted the item as evidence. It would appear, my lord, that the inspector was not at liberty to do that. Why ever not? As the man himself revealed earlier, his current assignment has some special conditions. And if we play that disc, the Morse code lady will know exactly what's being said and what confidential secrets are being leaked. Oops. Might as well. Recover the medium used to convey the secrets leaked from the ministry, and do it on the key tape. Strictly hush-hush, you understand? Hush-hush. A top secret assignment, is it? As far as we're aware, the information stolen comes from confidential government communications. It would seem that if that information were to be revealed in court as evidence, it would be problematic. Does it sum up the situation, Inspector? I'm operating under direct orders from the ministry. I'm afraid I'm not at liberty to answer that question. So, realizing there is a chance that you may be searched here in court, you took steps to hide the disc you had acquired from the witness. Oh, does this mean? He only pretended to attack Mr. Skulkin in order to get close enough to him to slip the second disc into his pocket. So it was all a pretense? Well now, Inspector Gregson, and you, Mr. Graydon, are you prepared to admit to the accusation made against you of this alleged deal? Your Honor. Admit to it. Yours truly, please. Mr. Graydon,
Clearly, our recent visitor has an uncommonly active imagination. However, there's no proof that I passed that test to the inspector.
Objection!
But then, how do you explain the reason why you knew about the peephole? I'm under no obligation to explain.
What?
Yes, I lied in my testimony. That I admit. So sentence me accordingly. But that is all I admit to. Murder, leaking government secrets, striking a deal with the detective. All of it is this young Eastern man's fantasy. I have no idea what any of this is about. Any of that is about.
You... What? Oh, he's fighting till the end. It's circling... The problem is... Then he'll just claim that, oh, Nash got the disc. I don't know how the disc got there. None of my problem. Well, what about you, Inspector Gregson? Do you admit to making a deal with Mr. Graydon in order to acquire the disc?
Ladies and gents of the jury, as a Scotland Yard inspector, I would declare this and nothing more. I am acting in the best interest of the country. Whatever I've done, it's been in the name of justice. So, as members of the public of this fine country, I'd like to think that justice will be your guiding light when you're making your decisions.
Is he asking them to... All of them are citizens except for that last one.
This is quite a quandary indeed. Rarely have I encountered such extraordinary tumultuousness in the concluding of a trial.
Yeah, I feel like it's been concluding for the past 5 hours.
Nevertheless, in the absence of any further evidence to be presented, I believe it is time that we put the matter to the jury for their final leanings. Now, as a fellow serving the Queen and country, I must say I sympathize with the old inspector.
Yes, he's a dependable man, I'm quite sure. In service, one becomes a good judge of character. You're not, though. I know you're not. You're kind of a piece of... whatever. Even crossing your eyes doesn't help when it comes to looking at this case. It's all blood to me.
As a fellow professional, I like to put my faith in the detective, really.
Graydon is highly skilled operator. Stop. Currently in presence of idle. Stop. You can stop.
Detective are very much trust in eyes. More than this, I cannot say.
I don't believe it. These 6 jurors are... They're going to believe Gregson. Oh, if they declare their decision now... Is Ginny going to be found guilty? If I don't manage to produce some definitive evidence right now, I mean... We're going to lose... I mean, also, they could just claim that... They could just say innocent and be done with it and move on. And then no one found guilty. Oops. But that's not going to happen because it's Ace Attorney. The only time that happened was with Mr. Miguel did. There's some proof that Graydon killed Mr. Windibanks or stole those government secrets. Or some evidence to force Gregson into admitting that he struck a deal with the witness.
Well then, counsel, I think it's time I impose on the jurors to declare their final decisions, no? That is, unless you have some compelling evidence you have thus far not presented to the court.
Here, I need everyone to... everyone needs to read this in its entirety. The entire thing. You know, read it slowly, like really take in the text and the material. It's kind of important. It's very important. Trust me, you just have to read the whole thing. No, I'm not... Actually, you know what? I'll read the whole thing. Chapter 1. It's the filibuster, right? We can filibuster this. We can just read this entire manuscript while we figure out a game plan. Fuck. I don't know. Well, we don't have anything. If I let the judge call on the jurors to announce their leanings, Gina will be found guilty. So there's no choice then, Bruno. You have to throw some more evidence at them. This is it now. It all comes down to this. Who do I present evidence against? Gregson or Graydon? Shit. Okay. So our evidence, or our options are: we try and provide evidence that he either murdered or stole, or murdered Windibanks, or stole the data, information, whatever. It's not data at this point. Or we provide evidence that Gregson made a deal. Or we leave it to the jury. But either way, what evidence would we even give that one of these things happened? Opening storeroom. None of that helps anything. Manuscript that. Autopsy report, the photograph. We have this, but this doesn't. We still don't have the third gun. We have the third bullet. We don't have the third gun still. I feel like the answer is weird. Honestly, I'm gonna take a risk here. I don't think I have evidence to present. Like, nothing I present can help us. I can't possibly decide this. I think all I can do is leave it in the jury's capable hands at this. No, Bruno. Okay, no, that was a risk, but look how far we've come. This is the final stretch. You need to pick the most explosive piece of evidence and throw it at the weakest witness. Hard. Just before you do. Yeah, no. You deserve an explosive punishment for that weakest of decisions. Alright, well, I tried. I thought it was worth a shot. Final blow. Okay. Where to place it for myself? Your answer then, please, Counsel. Sit now. Okay, the weakest witness and the strongest evidence. Our strongest evidence right now is probably this. I think you're right. I think Gregson is the weakest of the two. But is this our evidence that we present to him? Of the two, definitely, especially because he's an actually quote-unquote good person. It'll be much more likely that. I mean, yeah. I guess it is. Inspector Gregson, there's one final piece of evidence I would like you to see.
What's that then?
If you refuse to acknowledge that you did in fact strike a deal with the witness here today, then you leave us no choice but to examine this piece of evidence thoroughly.
Well, go on.
It's my last chance. Looks like I'm going to have to force his hand here. Oh, that's right. The strongest evidence is, in fact, that... Alright, well, let's play the discs. If you don't tell us, we're just going to play the discs. One final piece of evidence to get this detective to admit that he... To the deal he clearly struck with Graydon.
Take that!
Is that Mr. McGilda's peculiar music box, Counsel? Yes, with the disc already in place, ready to play. I think perhaps now would be a good time to listen to the sound produced by the music box again. Only this time... with the second disc we've just discovered set in place as well. Goodness, this disc, Counsel.
No, hey, I can't let you do that.
Why not?
But because, because it's got nothing to do with this case, that's why.
Objection!
Not true, Inspector.
Eh?
The defense has already proposed that the sounds heard by the court earlier from this music box were part of a Morse code message. We know that Morse code comprises of two distinct tones. The defense believes that the second disc contains the second tone needed to complete the message. And now we have a chance to confirm that theory.
For crying out loud, Sunshine, we're talking about state secrets here. If you're letting the whole courtroom get confidential information about it, it's treason.
Then you admit the charge? That in order to protect those state secrets, you engaged in unlawful dealings with the witness?
You're mad. If you let that secret information out into the public domain, You're making an enemy of the entire British government, you idiots!
Objection!
No, you will.
Let's not forget, Inspector, that you, a Scotland Yard officer, leaked confidential case details to a witness. That you continue to lie in court, to the court. Fuck. And all because, by fair means or foul, you're determined to do your duty. He said duty. Well, by fair means or foul, I'm prepared to do mine. Don't you dare. I will stop at nothing to protect my client. I don't care who I make an enemy of.
I think he respects that more than he's willing to admit.
My lord, if you please, the court must hear the sounds made by that music box. Come on, Manzak. For Pete's sake, stop him!
Objection!
I always forget about that. Inspector, you should know my methods by now. I'm a prosecutor. I'm no Scotland Yard puppet.
That's a good point, Maya. Not my state, not my secrets. Yeah, wristwatch, the first time I saw him do that, it fucking broke me in half.
In this courtroom, my duty is to the law. So let me propose a toast to uncovering the truth, by fair means or foul. And to my leg, which I showed you all quite beautifully a moment ago. Did you see my calves? They're quite stunning, I know. I do squats every morning and every night. And in the middle of the day, that is when I do my bench presses. That's how I get these wonderful pectoral muscles.
Also, thank you, Van Dyke, for actually helping us for once.
Very well. The defense is stuck here, and that's how the prosecution has been made very clear, I feel. Therefore, in accordance with the defense's request, the court will now listen to as this music box is set in operation once more.
Hello, hello, Punisher. Welcome. Here's some time for us to kind of scare the piss out of these some fools.
This time with a second disc in place, and both discs playing simultaneously.
Oh, Gregson's actually letting this happen. Holy shit. I thought for sure this motherfucker was gonna stop us. It's Morse code.
Alright, I admit it, whatever you want, but for the love of God, shut that bloomin' box up!
That was nice. That was fun. But boy, that is very telling. Let me ask you again then, Inspector Gregson. It does sound like that. I was like, that doesn't necessarily sound like whatchamacallit words. Like Morse code. Dun, 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 dun. It did sound more. Oh, perjury, collusion, withholding evidence. Contempt of court, that's the word. Did you or did you not strike a deal with the witness next to you in the stand, Mr. Ashley Graydon?
Specifically, did you furnish this witness with confidential case details in exchange for this music box disc? Did you reveal the existence of the peephole in the pawnbroker's storeroom door, Inspector?
I did.
So, what are you doing, man?
It's all exactly like the young Eastern lawyer said. When the trial resumed after the recess and we were stood here in the sun together, that's when he approached me with the deal.
Shut up, you imbecile! Shut up! You there. You're the detective who turned up at the pawnbrokery the other day, aren't you? I may have something you're looking for, Inspector, with me at this very moment. So how about a trade? I suggest you accept. More information that may make certain individuals uncomfortable will soon become very public indeed.
I couldn't let that information become public knowledge, not under any circumstances. So I accepted the man's proposal, told him details about the case that should have put him in the clear.
peephole in the storeroom door, and the bloodstains on the overcoats. By giving false testimony, the witness intended to have the defendant wrongly accused of murder. Inspector, you knew that. Yet you still revealed those details to facilitate the witness's perjury. I did. But then it turned out the peephole had only been laid that night, after the incident took place. Scotland Yard wasn't aware of that, if I'm perfectly honest. Well, Mr. Graydon, what do you have to say for yourself? There's nothing and no one left for you to hide behind. You struck a deal with the inspector in order to escape conviction of a very serious crime. Namely this. You are the third intruder who broke into the pawnbrokery on the night in question. And you perpetrated the murder of the proprietor, Mr. Pop Windibank. A lot of P's in that sentence. Felt like pop, pop. Phew. Oh, his hair just changed completely. Traitor! Oh, where'd the Skulkin brothers go? Shit. Can someone... Where's the bailiff? What was that? What the fuck just happened? What just popped out of his mouth? Bailiff! Restrain that man! At once! That's it then. It's all over. Yeah, Gregson's dead now. In memoriam to this motherfucker. I despised my life growing up. Oh no, okay, hold on. I despised my life growing up. The slums of vile places. I was cursed from birth. Born into poverty. Son of a penniless artisan. My parents did nothing but quarrel all day long. The little money that I had was never spent on me. So I set about studying. To better myself. To want to escape from that hellhole. And you eventually became a communications officer. I admire your determination. But then you decided to try to sell government secrets? Why? Isn't it obvious? Because I wanted money. Even now, years later, the nightmares of my life in the slums wake me in the small hours. I wanted to drown them out. But more money than anyone who lived in that squalor could ever imagine. And one day, I met him. Mr. Magnus McGill did. Oh, this young... You're a fiend with a quiet turn, so you are. I've money to throw you away if you're interested. All you need to do is go along with my little plan now. I don't know why his voice is so much fun to do. It's really not that difficult. I guess I do have a little bit of the Scottish and Irish blood in me, but you know what, I guess that don't really matter. Oh, it's to steal the minister's telegraphic message logs and McGill would buy them for a handsome sum. As I was responsible for inspection of the minister's communications office, it was a simple enough task. The lure of the devil's offerings. How easy it is to succumb. But you must surely have realized the seriousness of the crime you were committing. And for that reason, I took great lengths to ensure that my actions were untraceable. By using the music box. My father was a brickmaker, and my mother divorced him when I was still a child. Yes, Mr. Mason Milverton. That's right. He was very skilled with his hands. It was when a music box makes a princess. I imagine his skill to be sufficient to create a machine that could generate Morse code. Oh, that's why. Once Mason realized what that music box he made was all about, or he wanted money for it or something, that's when McGill killed him, because Mason threatened to go to the police with that information. So I sought out my father again to employ his services. It was the first time I'd seen him since I left the slums 10 years earlier. Look at you, Ashley. What a fine gent you become, eh? There's a different man to the one in my memory. A thin, frail old man. Poverty had never broken him, never corrupted him like it had me. I was sure that he wouldn't help me if I told him the real reason. So I made up a story. I've got some work for you, Father. I need some music box discs made. Music box discs, eh? A musician friend of mine has written some music he wants to sell to the public. Bought the score with me. Oh wait, hold on. I said, a musician friend of mine has written some music he wants to sell to the public. What? Musician friend, I brought the score with me. Or two, actually. I'd be delighted, son. It's been 20 years since I did any work like this, though. Fetch my tools, would you? They're in the loft. Oh, that poor old man. Now I'm really sad about Mason again. That's how I had to make the two discs. Thereby splitting the information in two. You were taking considerable precautions indeed. It was to protect myself as much as anything. It meant that I could deal with McGilded in two separate transactions. First involved the first of the two discs and the music box for playing them. I exchanged them with McGilded for 10 guineas. And then, when I received the second disc, he would pay 1,000 guineas. Woo! Now that's some walking around money. So, what happened on the omnibus 2 months ago? Was the second part of a deal? The exchange of the second disc? Yes. I've sold the man information that way a number of times already, but it seems he became reluctant to part with his money. But it doesn't quite make sense, Mr. Graydon, for why was it that on that omnibus 2 months ago, your father, Mr. Milverton, was the one dealing with Mr. McGilded's natural self? When I received the 1,000 guineas after my first completed dealings with McGilded, I decided to give 200 to my father for his troubles. I have a longer tone to it. Oh, that's fair. The one with the dot would be heard more while the dash. Longer tone. I guess it also works if they're... Oh no, it's not so much. Well, because I know Morse code is dots and dashes. I had to learn it a very long time ago and immediately forget it afterwards. And two notes, one acts as the dot, the other as the dash. Yeah, the one with the dot would be heard more. That's fair. Also, I guess because of the way the music box plays the dash, like you can't actually make a dash noise or make it a longer note. The note just hits. It would just be a different note. But my father realized something was amiss. In time, I worked out that I must be involved in something dubious. And when he did, he said to me, "Next time there's an exchange, you'll let your old man do it, understand? Otherwise, I won't take your money anymore." But why? Why did Mason want to do it? Water real fast, by the way. That was my father's way of dealing with it, I suppose. Climb to the omnibus, hand over the second disc, and take the money from McGilded. That's it. You had no idea what was actually on the disc I'd tasked him to make. You never knew. Just like I'll never know why everything went so horribly wrong that night. That's right. Everyone that was, well... That's right. The only people that were in that omnibus who knew what happened are dead now. Yep. Rest in peace to Mr. Mason Milverton. Trying to match sequence to Morse code letter. Yeah, that's fair. But yeah, because the only other person that was out in that omnibus that night is Gina. She's the only other person, but she's already said that she doesn't know what they were talking about. She heard something about money, and that's it. Excuse me. All I know is that the disc was taken from him, and he never returned home. It was only then that I found out what sort of a monster McGilded really was. So after 10 years not once ordering it, I swore on my father's name. To exact revenge. I had a feeling that he was the one who killed McGilded that night. To exact revenge. Revenge?
He's admitting to the murder of Magnus McGilded. As anyone with even the remotest knowledge of the man would no doubt be able to imagine, McGilded brought all his wealth and influence to bear in the most despicable of ways. To crush any semblance of justice in his trial. The crime scene was tampered with, evidence was fixed, and the witnesses were blind. And also threatened. There was also a witness that was threatened. Don't forget that one. The trial 2 months ago was a farce from start to finish. Oh, my feet had barely touched British soil back then. And I walked into that hornet's nest completely unaware of the sinister background to it all. I made plenty of money out of my deals with McGilded by then. So I spent nothing on my arrangements 2 months ago. I knew exactly who to hire. If you're willing to pay the price, there are people in the city willing to do anything you ask. McGilded himself has shown me that. Are you saying that? I think you have the picture now. After he twisted everything in his favor to this courtroom to ensure that he walked free. I took matters in my own hands and delivered the justice that monster deserved. That tragic accident following the trial here 2 months ago was planned and executed by yours truly. McGilded's death that day was caused by this man. I just realized something. This is the end of the first game, and we still don't know what the hell was going on back in the first case. Normally at the end of the Ace Attorney games, like, it brings it full circle to the first trial, or sometimes not even the first trial, but like, if it's gonna bring it all the way back around, it normally does. But that first trial was like, there's still so many questions about that one. It's connected more or less to the government secrets here, but interesting. Anyways, I'm sure that it's English Morse code just because it's double encrypted. Possibly, well, okay, considering how Gregson was so adamant about not playing it in court, it's probably not double encoded, because otherwise he wouldn't have been quite so worried. Want to follow me into the courtroom? What's this, officer? Just sooner than I was led to believe. Hope it's all inconvenient, sir. There's some changes to the schedule. I must be making tracks now. It's time for the inspection. I'm going to examine the omnibus again, so I'm told. I asked if I could be present for it myself. That was a lie. They weren't going to inspect the omnibus again. So that policeman who came to tell McGilded he could examine the omnibus again. That's right. An imposter, hired by me. McGilded used his wealth to manipulate the trial. He paid people to adulterate the omnibus with all manner of false evidence. He threatened witnesses to lie in their testimony. So I gave the man a taste of his own medicine. Once the omnibus was doused in paraffin, one of my sham policemen ushered McGilded inside and sent him on a one-way journey to hell. An eye for an eye. Well, that's how I avenged my father's death. A spine-chilling account indeed. But that wasn't the end of it for me. There was a loose end, you see. A loose end? Gina. Yes, I should think it's obvious. The second disc, which my father had taken into exchange with McGilded. Oh, yes. There was indeed no mention of it in the man's trial 2 months ago. Clearly because it had been removed from the scene of the crime. When I realized it was missing, I remembered something. Something from the first time I dealt with McGilded. This is the first of the two discs, and the music box you need to play them. Oh, look at that now. What an ingenious invention. So then, as promised, 10 guineas for you, young man. What's this? Windibanks pawnbrokery? Aye, it is a pawnbroker's ticket, so it is. You can use your redeemer now to cut off the positive for you there.
There's no need to give a name. Just hand over the ticket and tell the fiend to watch for it. I'll put a jewel in pun for you. I'll fetch a good 10 guineas if you sell it, so it will. Never heard of a pawnbroker being used in quite that way before. Damn, that's smart though. I hate that, but damn, that's clever. Have you not, Mr. Graydon? Well, these pawnbrokers are very useful places, you know. Each one is like an extremely secure vault. So that's how he knew it was there. So I knew that if he'd taken steps to hide the disc, it would be in that pawnbrokery somewhere. And on the night he killed my father, he must have entrusted the ticket to someone. Yes, to Gina. I remember now that when we first met you at Windibanks that afternoon 2 days ago, you had a description of Miss Lestrade written down. How did you know who you were looking for? From the trial. That pickpocket's testimony was clearly peculiar. Anyone could see that. I realized immediately that she was none of Matilda's pawns, and he must have threatened her somehow. I was fairly convinced it would be her who had the ticket, so I started to make some inquiries. I had a strong suspicion the girl would come out of the woodwork on the redemption deadline. He was absolutely right. And yes, sure enough, she did. All I needed to do was to wait until the girl went to Windibanks to redeem the articles. But unfortunately, she redeemed only McGillicuddy's overcoat, and the one disc was in his pocket. The all-important music box with the second disc inside was missing. Because it had already been forfeited 2 days earlier. But I was unaware of that fact. Had I not been, I could have avoided my nighttime excursion. Meanwhile, as our investigation into the stolen government tickets was progressing, we picked up on the fact that McGillicuddy was involved. Inspector, you recovered fast. My orders were to recover the stolen information as quickly as possible. So we started gathering the fellow's possessions and examining whatever we could lay our hands on. We had a full-scale investigation going on at the yard. We had to keep it as quiet as we could. Then, when the inspector here took the disc from me in the pawnbroker that day, I became nervous. I was sure the music box and the second disc were still there in the shop somewhere. So I knew that it was a race against time. I had to find those articles before the police did. So that's what prompted you to break into the place that same night. With the help of your old friends, the Skulkin brothers. What happened that night in the pawnbrokery, I can only describe as a nightmare. While Nash and Ringo was searching the counter, I located the music box I'd sold to McGillicuddy on the shelves of forfeited articles. And the second disc was inside? Yes, I slipped it in my pocket with a very deep sigh of relief. But then, something entirely unexpected happened. What are you doing? What was Windibanks' voice? Oh, what are you doing in my shop? What are you doing in my shop? Was he Shrek like? No, I don't think so. A gunshot rang out in the shop and I felt a sharp pain in my left arm. The broker fired his gun and the bullet pierced your limb. Yes, exactly. But unfortunately, I decided to bring my own gun with me that night, just in case. Before I knew what was happening, I had fired back. The man had already turned to flee. I hadn't intended to fire in his direction, much less kill him. But unfortunately for both of us, the bullet hit home. It struck him in the middle of the back as he fled through the storeroom door for refuge. Sorry, tale. It all took place in the blink of an eye. Not to mention Nash and Ringo even realized what had happened at first. I was terrified, so fled. And that's the whole story. That's everything that happened at Windibanks on that wretched night. Well, damn. Alright, cool motive. Murder, still murder. Off to jail. Cool motive, still murder. That's the phrase. I remember now. Took me a moment. breaking the tension. Silence makes me feel awkward.
Earlier, you called me guilty a monster. A man who uses wealth and influence to distort the facts and escape justice for the crime of murder.
Right, also a hypocrite. Can't forget that part.
With tragic irony. For what you have done is exactly the same. You become the very monster he saw and despise so deeply and be gilded. Yeah, I think I have.
I know that his accent's actually probably not actually changing when I've established a couple different states of his mindset to have the different accents because I think it's fun that way.
Well, this has been a long and exhausting trial. However, it would seem that at last we have arrived at the truth. Inspector Gregson, what of Mr. Ashley Graydon?
He has been restrained, my lord, and has been escorted to the yard. He'll be charged with the murder of Mr. Windibanks and stealing of government secrets. I was really confused for a moment. Thank you for the applause and for the pride heart. I was really confused for a moment. The applause sounded like, especially with the timing, it sounded like it was coming from the game for a moment. The stealing of government secrets.
Very good. And you, Inspector? Regrettably, you will have to face charges yourself.
Yes, my lord, of course.
It transpires that you were complicit in helping a criminal escape justice. That fact remains whether or not you were doing so in the line of duty. The crime is a serious one, Inspector, and inexcusable.
How you know that this is a fictional story and a fictional reality? The cops are being held accountable for shit.
Now to the defendant, Miss Trina Lestrade.
Yeah.
It is time for the final adjudication. Is the jury ready, Mr. Foreman?
Yes, sir. Native Squadron standing by, sir. This is really it now. The last push, the final call, finishing whistle. My men are ready to deliver their verdicts.
Thank you, Mr. Foreman. Very well, ladies and gentlemen of the jury. You will now declare your final decisions to the court.
Not guilty.
Not guilty.
Not guilty.
Not
Not
guilty.
guilty.
Not guilty.
Not guilty.
Not guilty.
Also, we still haven't dealt with that guy. And the whole, like, everything from the second case of, like, everything involving the Russians at the moment. Like, that's still... That's the stuff. I'm off the hook. Finally, Bruno. You finally managed to do it. Well, finally is the word. I really wasn't sure if we'd come out on top for a while there. Susie was right. You're the best lawyer in the world.
Miss Lestrade, I'm not finished with you yet.
Eh? What are you looking at me like that for?
Before you start enjoying your freedom, there are certain other crimes to consider.
Eh?
2 months ago, in my courtroom no less, you gave false testimony, did you not? And in relation to the trial today, not only did you unlawfully enter Windibanks' pawn bookery, you also attempted to abscond on Mr. McGilder's property, it seems.
Eh? I never done nothing of the sort. Of course not. It's not like you were gleefully wearing McGilder's coat in your cell yesterday or anything. Also, to be fair, anyone can go in, they have the ticket, they have the word, they can get the thing. Really not that difficult. Aw. Just when I was getting excited about throwing a party for Jimmy this evening.
And turning our attention to the defense, determining that when played together, the music boxes contained a message in Morse code was, well, it was certainly a most unexpected revelation, Counsel.
Quite so, my lord. The prosecution was caught entirely off guard. In fact, I think we should applaud my learned friend's courage here today. I propose a toast. I don't trust this toast. I don't trust you applauding me for jack shit. To demanding that government secrets be disseminated before the entire courtroom. Alright, hold the fucking phone. Yes, but
Oh no, these are just fuck, I guess. Very, very sorry about that. It's the only way that I could get Inspector Gregson to admit to what he done. So, if I may say something on that point, wait, who was it? Isn't that something on that point? It's about the sounds produced by the music box before. I do wonder if that was really Morse code at all. Hello? Hello? Wait, what? What? What are you saying, madam? Oh, wow. It's just that I'm really rather fanatical when it comes to Morse code, you see? So much so that the whole world seems to be covered in dots and dashes to me, in fact. Goodness, madam. An unhealthy level of obsession, one for yours. Hold on. Looking at her outfit. No? Okay, never mind. But I must say that in my opinion, the sounds produced by those two discs were nothing more than that. A meaningless series of two different tones. What? What? Can that really be? It wasn't Morse code after all? My lord, the defense would like to listen to the music box again. I often not. How many times do I have to tell you? Those discs contain ministerial secrets, Sunshine. This courtroom is not an appropriate forum to discuss the nature of the government communications. We know McGinty conspired to trade national secrets to our enemies. Secrets acquired from Mr. Graydon. Now that the man has admitted to his crimes, we have no need to pursue the matter further. But, it's really going to bother me. I think Iris already figured something out. Mr. Strahd. Eh, my lord? Much what you have seen today here in this courtroom has been extremely disturbing. Falsified evidence, intimidation, perjury, a grim catalogue of depravity. An appalling experience to befall any child. Come on, that ain't nothing I don't see most days in the back slums. I beg your pardon. If you're weak, you pay for it. That's just how life goes. Gina. What is that? But look, I reckon I'll work something out today. Well, it ain't fair. But if you want it to change, you gotta start at home. You gotta change how you are yourself. The world isn't fair, but we can damn well work to make it better. Well, that's a very laudable lesson, I would say. I eagerly look forward to the born-again Mrs. Strahd never gracing my courtroom with her presence again. I have a feeling she feels very much the same. Now, with regard to the murder of Mr. Pop Windibanks, proprietor of a pawnbrokery business on Baker Street, I hereby declare the defendant, Miss Gina Lestrade, not guilty. Huzzah! Hooray! Congratulations. Wait, where's she? Oh, right. I forgot she had that. Wait, hold on. That's supposed to be a smoke grenade launcher, not a fireworks launcher. Okay, that's fine. You know what? That's okay. That is all. Court is adjourned. There was more to that trial than I thought there was at the point that we were left. Well, Von Sykes, what do you say? I keep reading you have that cape because you immediately tossed it 2 seconds into the trial. On a personal note, I must say you have surprised me, my far eastern friend. Oh! Despite being a Nipponese, you thought with the pretense of the malice that festered within the Englishman. The family secret. But that still doesn't explain, like, oh yeah, no, 100% wristwatch. This guy's chock full of it. But no, it was like, then how do you, like, understandable that's not secrets, but then if it's not Morse code, then how do you understand the recipe? And at the same time, saw through the grime to the surprising art of your English client. You have a curious talent for judging character, especially considering our very different cultures. I don't think there's anything curious about it. Whether we're from the Empire of Great Britain or the Empire of Japan, we're all human beings. we're not so very different on the inside. No, I took this case for one very simple reason. To lock swords with you once again, here in the courtroom.
I mean, I don't know if this is necessarily the great place. You know? Like, at least take me out to dinner first. I mean, then we can talk. It's like,
You did? When I encountered you for the first time 2 months ago, it reminded me of toasting friendships and trust with another Nipponese, only to find my trust betrayed. Though through you, I hope to look into the eyes of the man I once knew. Try to understand.
hold on. That's an, wait, no, so much has happened in this game that there's something I completely forgot about. Kazuma. No. Kazuma, our best friend, the one who helped us become a lawyer, essentially. The one who had something he wanted to do here in Great Britain. And he's so excited, or not even excited, that he had a goal, a mission here in England. But he died before he could even step foot to fulfill it. And he never told anyone what it was. Wait, hold on. Was my boyfriend your boyfriend, and then he wasn't your boyfriend anymore, and now he's neither of our boyfriends because he's dead and we should be boyfriends? Yes, Kazuma Asogi. This is a trio of boyfriends just learning a lot of stuff. He mentioned something similar earlier today. I mean, to be fair, Van Dyke does want to lock swords. That's definitely like, ooh, he really wants to skip a couple of steps and go straight to date 3. About total betrayal at the hands of the Japanese. What happened exactly? Boyfriend polycule! Boyfriend polycule! Too bad one of them's dead, so... Well, technically 2 of them are dead because Von Sykes is a vampire, so... You know, I'm sure we can bring Cosmo back somehow. We'll figure it out. Also, if there's not a shit ton of fanfiction out there of those 3, I will be fucking shocked.
Well, you may ask. And one day, when the time comes, you will learn the answer, whether you like it or not.
Alright, then I'll wait for that day, if I must.
Coming to be known as the Reaper of the Bailey, and my retirement from service 5 years ago. It gives me cause to wonder if our meeting has some deeper purpose.
Don't, no,
So, farewell, my learned Nipponese fellow, until we meet again.
Oh yeah, I bet they were into that. Well, I've already said so much. I don't know why I'm hesitating now. I've said so much just in the past 5 minutes. I've talked about crossing swords way too many times. So now just go ahead and say that vampire boyfriend is definitely into blood play. It's done. It's over at last. But where's Iris disappeared to? Congratulations, Gina. I knew it all along. I knew that you were innocent. Well, you did what you said, Mr. Naruto. You believed in me. Right up to the end. You're as odd as your name. What's odd about it? I told you I had faith in you, didn't I? Wax play? Why not both? No one ever has before, you see. Kept promise, I mean, properly. That's awful. I figured something out today. All my life, growing up in the slums, I've never trusted no one. But that's just because I've been scared of being stabbed in the back.
That's a damn mood. I mean, when you trust someone, what else will let you down? Yes. I think I can understand that. Oh, definitely, that is. Story time! Quick story time, I'm gonna try to make this fast. When I was in high school, technically my school, no, actually, so the high school I went to was actually 7th through 12th grade, it was middle and high school. I believe in 7th or 8th grade, I think I was in 7th grade, I met this kid, I guess, because he was only 2 years older than me, he was a freshman. And because we were both playing, I don't remember how it started, I think I met him on the bus, on the way to school, on the metro bus, the public bus, and we were both played 3DS, you know, video games. Very easy to bond over people like that. I would come to hang out with him and his other friends, and all this other stuff. And it's like he was like probably my best friend at that school. And I went to his house once or twice, and we played games and all this other stuff. And he got me back into Yu-Gi-Oh as well. We would play cards with some other people every day at lunch, even before school started. Yeah, no, I know this was 7th grade. Because one day, don't even remember. No, or was this? No. Not sure then. Jesus. So, or was it 7th grade? No. When did I have? No. I think I met him in 7th grade, but I think this event happened in 9th grade. I think I was a freshman when this happened. One day in freshman year, we had study hall together, right? 7th period study hall. And one day, there is there's some sort of assembly or something that everyone during the study hall period that day had to go do, to the auditorium to go do. I don't remember what specifically. So we left our backpacks there in the study hall, in the classroom, went down to the gym for whatever it was, came back up. I came back up, and I had kept my Yu-Gi-Oh deck in a pocket on the side of my backpack, so it was easy to get in and out of, right? So just easy to get to, and it was a nice spot. It was perfect. Same with one of the phone holder places. I saw that it was open, and that my stuff was gone. My cards were gone. And so the two of us were kind of like talking, like, oh, I must have dropped it somewhere during lunch, maybe? I don't know. I was kind of freaking out, panicking. I was really sad. The next day, he comes to me and says that someone had turned some Yu-Gi-Oh cards into the office, and something or other mentioned that, like, oh, they know that he plays, which I was a dumb kid, and I should have realized that this was bullshit immediately, but also no one else fucking caught on to this either, so whatever. So someone said that, actually, no, I didn't fucking tell anyone. Fuck, damn it, no, I'll get to that. So he told me that someone had said that he had turned into the office and someone mentioned his name about having, like, playing cards a lot, so they mailed it to his house or whatever, despite the fact that it should have been lost and found. So, but still, he told me that. I'm like, oh, thank God, you have the cards, cool, can I have them back? It's like, no, because at this point, some of the cards were his. Like, he had given me a few cards from my deck, and even the card sleeves. I was like, no, these are mine, you were careless with them, and you lost them, so I'm not giving them back, I'm not giving them to you. And it's like, okay, well, just my cards then, just mine. And he's like, no, blah, blah, all this. And I hate remembering this. So, so he would not give me my cards back. This is a deck, these are cards that I've had for years, and I actually really like them. Just from a design standpoint, all this other stuff. And so, I told my mom that when I told my mom that this happened, her only response at the time was, well, I'm sorry, you shouldn't have taken your cards to school then. Because I think it was also, we'll get to another part in a minute, but yeah. Jesus fucking Christ, Punisher. But anyways, and that's all I got from her. Despite the fact that I'm pretty sure I told her specifically about the part about them sending it to him, despite the fact that makes no goddamn sense that they would send it to him. And I also told an English teacher at the school who we were all friends with because he was also the one who hosted the anime club every week. Like we used his classroom for anime club. I told him about it, and I guess I didn't mention to him the part about it going to the friends. But he was so nice, and he came in a couple days later and gave me a new deck of cards, which I was so happy over. And I felt so much guilt over that he got this for me. And then a few days later, not all of them, but a few more cards went missing. And at this point, I'm like, okay, I need to stop bringing this to school because I have a problem and I am losing stuff. Quick note that also, like, the people I was playing Yu-Gi-Oh with, like, they were also very big into, like, the trading and the selling and the cards. Apples aren't vegan? Why are apples not vegan? Also, hi, welcome. But so, I didn't bring my Yu-Gi-Oh cards to school anymore because and then shortly afterwards I stopped playing with, does that make it not vegan? Interesting. But so, I think it was shortly after this I also stopped hanging out with those people because something just didn't feel right. I think before this, I think maybe a year or two before this, I don't remember when I was still like with the same guy, like I would bring my DS to school all the time, and you know I hung out with him on the bus. Interesting. But so there's like in my DS, my original DS Lite that I had disappeared one day, and I had to buy a new one. And I realized years later, two things hit me all at once. One, that motherfucker stole my Yu-Gi-Oh cards. A little while later, it was like, two, that motherfucker stole my DS. That son of a bitch. So yeah, betrayal. It fucking sucks. That story was a lot longer than I wanted it to be, but you know what? You start remembering things and then it goes wild. I chose to trust someone, paid for it. A betrayal left a big scar. You know though, Gina, I worked something out quite recently too. Trusting in someone else is really an exercise in learning to trust yourself. And when your gut tells you it's the right thing to do, and you're trusted and rewarded, there's no better feeling in the world. I think I have you to thank for reminding me of that valuable lesson. Oh, well, if you say so. Don't make a fat lot of sense to me, though. I'm trying to say that putting my faith in you, Gina, has been a real pleasure. For crying out loud, pack it in! I suppose, sort of feel the same way. Yeah, it hit me to the point where I'm pretty sure I've had trust issues with people ever since. To where I'm terrible at trying to make new friends, especially in a more physical way. Jesus fucking Christ, Punisher. Oh my god. I mean, I can imagine that. I just already experienced that. But yeah, trust issues, fun, love them. To the point where even when I had a roommate in college at one point who he had Yu-Gi-Oh cards, a part of my mind was definitely going, do not bring out your own cards. Like, don't, like, be very careful with your stuff, blah, 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 and all this other stuff. Which, nothing ever came of that guy. Like, nothing bad ever happened with him. Whatever, he was a cool dude. I just had that fear. I just had that internal fear that something was wrong. Boy, I just love that. So, but yes, no. Similar to this whole game has been a lot about belief and trust in others, and it's like, yeah, that's some other stuff that's been going on, but. It was just the taste that was. You know what? Fair enough. I like bananas. I think they're good. Although I've stopped eating them for medicine reasons. I mean, sometimes trusting someone else is, you know, all right. Thanks. This is the way I see it, Ryunosuke. A defense lawyer is only as good as his faith in his client. And remember, the billowing wind of your headband is a good indicator of how strong your faith is. The stronger your faith, the more the billow. It's an important lesson. If I don't wear a headband, don't worry. You will feel the billow in your heart. Why does that feel like something he would actually say? And that comes down to how much faith he has in himself. Why was it? Wait. It was part of it. Okay, sure. After this experience, I'm starting to feel like I understand what you mean. Kazuma, am I living up to your expectations? Am I turning out to be the lawyer you believed I could be? Pardon the interruption. Who was that? Ah, it's Herlock. But what the deuce does a man have to do to be noticed around here, my dear fellow? That voice! It's too late for that voice now, Mr. Naruhodo. I've been standing here patiently in the corner of the room for an eternity. Yes, it was me all along. I would have said when finally you noticed me. But you people, with your incessant babbling. Yes, I kind of babble to myself a fair bit, but I do sometimes. Mr. Sholmes. Yes, it was me all along, you see? The other bailiff there just kind of like, I thought you were my friend. I just seemed to have been taken back to the hospital, to be honest. Indeed I was, but I managed to escape again. That was fast, that didn't take long. Oh. I happen to be aware of one or two foibles of the doctor who was tending to me. I've only made my knowledge of them known to the man, and he happily issued me with a leave of absence. How very above board. But enough of my adventures. That was a fine victory, Mr. Naruhodo. Your tireless efforts are justly rewarded, I feel. Congratulations are in order. As a close friend, I tip my hat at you. Oh, thank you. Some great detective you are. Afraid of being cold as ice, maybe. I've irked you in some way, Mr. Strahd. Or you've been having a snooze in your nice soft bed. Some of us have been fighting for our lives out here. Ah, well. That bullet did cause me to lose a substantial amount of blood, it's true. It's true. So I have indeed been feeling somewhat cold. Not as cold as ice, but I'll have a feel. Could you take your hands off my neck, please, Mr. Sholmes? And in some way, I suppose, congratulations are in order for you too, Mr. Strahd. What's that supposed to mean? Why so half-hearted? Well, naturally, it isn't my intention to alarm you, but an acquittal in trial without particular prosecutor is perhaps a little precarious. Well done, Mr. Sholmes. Not alarming in the slightest. Oh, the Reaper, you mean? Because anyone who's not found not guilty in a trial who's working on winds up dead anyways. Is that it? The very point I was trying to make. As exemplified by the fate of Mr. McGill, in fact. But of course, pay no attention to such irrational drivel myself. I've lost his voice, I have no idea where it is. Yeah, well, it don't bother me. Oh, really? Of course not. Why, I see it. It was a bit like him upstairs. Him upstairs? You mean, like God? Yeah, him upstairs knows what's what, right? He knows what people are like on the inside. He wouldn't have got the wrong end of the stick. There's some codes like that bog trotter will rotten to the core. At the end of the day, them upstairs make sure they get what they deserve. I suppose that's one way of looking at it. Divine justice is one thing, though. Taking matters into his own hands and claiming lives is another. But I ain't like them gilded in this world, so I ain't scared. I got principles, say. Principles of steel just from the rich for yourself. A trait in which is to be admired, Mr. Strahd. Oi, just give it a rest, alright? As I was saying, congratulations are in order. The news of your acquittal was very welcome news to me indeed. Let me express my heartfelt congratulations, Gina. There you are, Hurley.
How long have you been here? Uh-oh. Honestly, I went to the main entrance especially to meet you there. Iris, my dear, I do apologize. But wait until I tell you what happened. This pair made utter fools of themselves. What happened? As you know, I have a penchant for disguise. I was hiding in this room dressed as a bailiff. Oh, these dolts didn't notice my presence at all. They had no idea. Can you imagine, Iris? Would you credit it? I'm not sure, really. I beg your pardon. I'm sorry, Ellie. You just don't have the weighty presence you seem to think you have. In fact, you really ought to be careful about that. It's going to land you in trouble one day. One day? Oh, be careful. Ouch. She's harsh. I like her. It's fun. Anyway, it's such a shame. I'm still hoping to throw a party for Ginny tonight, but you won't be able to come, will you? Still looks like I'm going to be nowhere for a while. You know the judge's patter. I had stuff to make amends for, apparently. All them offences. What was it again? Breaking it in the room, taking the bulk trying to stuff what wasn't logged, blah blah blah. Yes, I think you'll find that basically being a pickpocket is the main offense. But Davin ain't an offense. That's a job, eh? I don't think so. Still, it's got me thinking, all this. We should start looking for another line of work. I mean, you didn't start off as a lawyer, did you, Odo? Well, no. I was never a pickpocket. But anyway, I reckon I can make a change. I'm gonna do something for all of them like me from the slums. Something that makes a difference for them. It's a wonderful idea, Jenny, and I'm sure you can do it. What is it? Nothing.
Machina Lestrade. The prison carriage has arrived, ma'am. Got me to the rear gate at once.
Right. Well, looks like I'm off then. Yes. Goodbye, Gina. And good luck. If you need a lawyer, I can help, but I don't think I can't get you not guilty, but I can at least help make it better, I think. Otto. Yes? Oh, the Tsundere is not happy. Or, no, she's too happy, that's the problem. Ah! What was that for? I don't know. I mean, I don't know what to say, so... Indeed. Perhaps the situation calls for a phrase hitherto missing from your vocabulary, Mr. Strahd. On occasion such as this, I would recommend a simple thank you. Oh, yes. It's good advice, Ginny. Go on. Right. Oops, sorry, bumped the mic. I see. Well, come on, you can do it. I believe in you. Thanks, Otto. Thank you for everything, what you've done. For believing in me. I'm sorry. I think I'm collapsing from my heart. The sweetness is too much. I'm falling to pieces. Not at all. In fact, that should be my line. Thank you, Gina. I'm dying. Well, there she goes. I wonder if I'll ever see her again. Well, quite the indomitable pig purse. Oh, I nearly forgot. I brought a paper outside. It's a special edition, and this trial is all over the front. Wait. The trial just ended. How?
Really? Anyways, pickpockets, innocence proven. Isn't it wonderful? Absolutely, mate. Should have shown it to Gina, Iris. She would have been thrilled. Oh no, how silly of me. But anyway, would you like the good news or the bad news? Ugh, not again. Well, what do you say, Bruno? Hurley? As usual, I think I'd rather get the bad news out of the way first. Absolutely not. I have no intention of listening to anything but good news. And there you have it. How people answer their questions says a lot about them, doesn't it? Let's not go there. Alright then, maybe let's start with the good news this time. The rain has finally stopped. It was a record level of rainfall, apparently. Oh, that is good news indeed. We can journey back in greater comfort. Alright then, what's the bad news? Huge storm has left the seas very choppy. The channel in particular is awful, so sailings out of the Dover have been delayed by a day or more. Wait a second. Wait, Dover? Doesn't that mean... That's right. Have we head to the station immediately? We may still make it in time to wave Susie off. What are we doing just standing here? Let's go! But... There won't be a train, surely. We couldn't be that lucky. Who do you think I am, Mr. Naruhodo? Mr. Sholmes? I rushed to Victoria Station earlier and made arrangements for a special express. As we heard now, we shall be there in time for dinner. And I know of a fine restaurant that serves the most delicious baked sole. I don't... Oh, the great detective does it again! Indeed he does. I happen to be aware of a number of the rail transport director's foibles. What? I merely made no knowledge of them known to the man, and he happily laid on the locomotive. Elementary. Just an idea, but it might be wise to stop manipulating people that way. What are we waiting for then? To London, Victoria. April 18th, 5:32 p.m. Port of Dover, quayside. That took somewhat longer than I had anticipated. Susie's boat must be about to leave now. Yeah. Wait. Oh my god. Mrs. Sato, where are you? Over there. Look. It looks like she's reading something.
Hold it!
Don't go. Mr. Sato, wait! What are you doing? Mr. Naruhodo? What are you doing here? Oh, we came as soon as we could after the trial. I mean, we heard that sailings were being delayed due to the bad weather, you see. Oh, I see. Then tell me, how did Gina's trial go? It went well. She was acquitted. Thanks to you. That's wonderful. Really wonderful news. The book you were about to throw into the sea. It was your Encyclopedia of British Law, wasn't it? Oh dear. I was hoping you hadn't seen that. I'm not worthy of practicing law in any way now. So, I was saying my final farewell. You were saying goodbye to law? You? Sato-san? Would I be correct in assuming it's because of the peephole, Mrs. Sato? It's not like you did it intentionally. Also, like, I wouldn't really call that tampering with the crime scene. That's tampering with the door to the crime scene. Also, you didn't know it was I deliberately altered the scene of a crime, and I had to try to hide the fact. What I did is utterly unforgivable. Not really. That reminds me. How did you even come to have this, Susie? On the evening of the incident, Mr. Sholmes had invited Gina to dinner, if you remember. Oh yes, we had a wonderful time. Well, Gina gave us a little introductory lesson, didn't she? To the art of pickpocketing, I mean. Oh, that was so much fun. I saw Runa's armband. Yes, please don't do that again, Iris. That band's very important to me. Well, if it's so important, you should pay more attention to it. She didn't notice for ages. On a whim, I thought it would be fun to see if I could take the cat flap mat, so I put it up my sleeve. Really? And then I rather forgot about it, until I found myself in Mr. Windibanks' shop with it later that night. I see. And then... Mr. Sholmes! Mr. Sholmes! Leave me, Mr. Naruto. Right. After Mr. Naruto left the shop, I started to think. That door started to play on my mind. The storeroom door, you mean? Yes. If Gina was anywhere in the shop, I realized it could only be behind that door. And at that moment, the little device I had up in my sleeve sprang to mind. I was so worried about Gina, I simply had to know. So, you used the cat flap-a-mat to make the peephole in the door? As captured in the photographic print of the shop. Why do I have the hiccups? By one of Hurley's red-handed recorders. Indeed. It was of the first importance at that point. Precisely when the peephole was made. That information would prove to be Mr. Naruto's greatest weapon. Though naturally, without proof, it would have amounted to nothing. Okay, so in the original Ace Attorney games, I believe it's Ace Attorney Justice for All, and Ace Attorney Trials and Tribulations. Those were the first 3 games. You were all Phoenix Wright, and they were sequels. No, Justice for All was number 4, wasn't it? What was the second game called? No, that was Justice for All. There are a couple other regular Ace Attorney games that you're Phoenix Wright. There's a couple of Apollo Justice games where you play as Apollo Justice. This is Great Ace Attorney, where you play as his Phoenix Wright's ancestor, Ryunosuke Naruhodo, who you are the same person in both of these 2 games that are in this collection. And there's also the Miles Edgeworth games, where you play as the prosecutor. When I looked through the hole in the door... So in all of the games, no. In most of the games, yes. The sight that met my eyes made my blood run cold. Thoughts, Great Ace Attorney, both of them are the same character. Thoughts started to run through my mind. Judicial Boogaloo, yes. I remembered the trial 2 months earlier. The trial of Magnus McGilligan. I thought about how he had manipulated the evidence and arranged false testimony to secure his freedom. It made the British justice system feel very dark and sinister to me. And then a terrible thought occurred to me. What if some wicked criminal was planning to do the same thing now? Because from the appearance of the crime scene, it looked exactly as though Gina had shot Mr. Windibank. Even though I was sure she would never have done such a thing. You were worried that the true culprit would try to frame her for the crime? That's right. But then I realized it would be very difficult for anyone to give false testimony in this case. What do you mean? Well, the crime appeared to have happened behind the door of a locked room. For someone to claim falsely to have witnessed it, there would have to be a... Oh my god! You clever, sneaky little fox! For someone to claim to have witnessed it, there would have to be a way to see beyond the door. For which, a peephole would be the very thing! Only the peephole I had made wasn't actually there until after the crime had been committed, of course. And the criminal would know that, so it wouldn't make any difference. But the possibility of a rather ingenious trap was there, was it not? A trap? Is that why she did it? So, is that why you kept it a secret, Susie? You never mentioned that you made the people to anyone, not even to the police. And in the end, her not mentioning it to anyone is exactly why you were able to catch them in the lie. She really did commit a crime, but at the same time, damn, was she right to? She made the correct choice to do was something illegal in this moment. Because Gregson would have told him not to mention the people, because that was made afterwards. I know, and I knew at the time what I was doing was wrong. A criminal offense, even. That's why I decided to confide in Mr. Sholmes. If Mr. Naruhodo was completely backed into a corner with no other possible means of escape, the truth of the people could save him. That was my plan. She really does think of everything. But then, why didn't she just tell me everything before the trial began? My dear fellow, you're not thinking straight. If she had done that, it would have rendered you complicit in the whole escapade. You could have been disbarred if you had been seen to have knowingly tampered with the crime scene. Okay, here's a question. Disbarred is a verb. It's a very specific verb that means that you are no longer able to be a lawyer, essentially. Which is a specifically lawyer term. One that I don't know if it exists, A, in England, B, certainly not at this time. So I don't know if this word actually would exist. But you know what? We, in the present day, know what it means, so it's fine, I guess. So Mr. Sato decides to shoulder the burden of responsibility alone. For your sake, and Mr. Lestrade's. Mr. Sato, the truth is, what had happened, I did it because I lost a little of my faith in the law. Oh. I was worried that the right person wouldn't be convicted of the crime, and she would have been right. But the moment I allowed myself to think that is the moment I lost my right to call myself a judicial assistant. Disbarred. Yeah, the word disbarred specifically. I don't know if that's because the bar, like I know that there's the bar exam that you take to become a lawyer, and I think the bar is part of that whole thing, but I don't know if the bar specifically is only in America or not, but whatever. What you did isn't comparable to what he did. Graydon is the one who lied in the witness stand, using that peephole as a way to implicate Gina. And besides, if the peephole inconsistency hadn't existed, I'm not at all sure that she would have been acquitted in the end. Mrs. Sato, what you did saved Gina's life. Well, with your kind words, Mr. Naruhodo, you've saved me too, from my regrets. And I still say, I want to point out the fact that, again, from where he landed and how he was running, the only way he could have been shot was from behind. There was no way that she locked the door, he ran away from her, and then she shot him in the back like that. Like, again, there's other logic that we could have used, but that's fine. Whatever. Game said no. So I say fuck you. Well, it was all we thankful that Mr. Lestrade's freedom has been assured. Yes, exactly. Although some of the loose ends in that trial will continue to play on my mind, I'm sure. But the revelation that the music boxes contained secret messages, Mr. Naruhodo. What a triumph to work that out. It's full of admiration. Well, actually, that argument wasn't quite as compelling as I thought it was. Oh, it wasn't? There's a communications officer among the jury members, you see, a telegraph operator. And she said the majority of the sounds on the disc were just meaningless tones. As one would expect. After all, we are talking about secret government communications. No doubt they are written in cipher to avoid being readily understood should they have been intercepted. In cipher? I see. So then we could never have hoped to understand the message anyway. Nonsense, my dear fellow. It's quite a zero-pipe problem, I assure you. Brain not cooperating? No, that's fair. That's a... A. So... I'm sorry? I'm sorry, hello? Hello? Why are you saying his name? Why are you bringing him up? What? So... Well, that can't be a real word, can it? How funny. Wait, Iris, what did you just say? Oh, I just said asogi. Does that word mean something to you? Mean something? Asogi was the name of my best friend. What? But how? How do you know that name, Iris? I wrote it down in the trial before, when the message was playing on the music box. She transcribed it on the fly? She really is a genius. I thought the message probably wouldn't be written out in plain Morse code, so I tried various ways to interpret it. Whenever I tried, the words just didn't seem to make any sense. That is, in English at least. Oh. It suddenly occurred to me, you see? There's more than one Morse code. Ah, damn it, Response was right earlier. Wasn't English Morse code. Not just the English variety. Various countries around the world have altered and added to Morse code using their own languages. I don't believe it. Are you saying... That's right. I've only actually seen a chart in Japanese Morse code once before, but I think it's based on the Iroha pentagram, isn't it? And you mean to say that in Japanese Morse code, the message says asogi? Yes, I think so. Sorry, but I don't remember all of the Japanese Morse code. Iris, would you let me see that? Mrs. Otto, do you know it? Do you know Japanese Morse code? Yes, I spent some time studying it. What do you not study? Because I'm quite sure Morse code will become ever more important for international communications. Well, you're not wrong about that. Then might I recommend, my dear madam, that you focus your efforts on the English version. Be that as it may, Iris, show me the message, please. Of course. Come on, Sato, what's it say? What was our boy getting up to? But what can this possibly mean? Whatever's in that long sequence of supposedly meaningless dots and dashes, it's made the color drains from Susato-san's face. There's no doubt that this message is written in Japanese Morse code. So the British Empire has been using Japanese for its secret communications? I don't understand the reason why, but the message appears to be a list of 4 people's names. Yes, you were right, wristwatch. Damn it. But 4 people's names? 4 names. It's a spicy fanfic? Oh, okay. It's spicy fanfic. Alright. So we've got Kazuma Asogi, Ryunosuke Naruhodo, Lord Von Zykes. It would be the 4th one. And the spicy fanfic. Gregson? No. No, probably not. It would be... Last one's might not even... Last one's the self-insert OC that everyone puts into their... you know, that kind of story. The first is K Asogi, R Naruhodo. That's true. L Zykes, because we don't have L Von Zykes, because we don't have a first name, so we're just gonna call him Lord. And the last one is OC? What, no last name? No, it just says OC, it just has their initials. Interesting. Oh wait, that or YN. One or the other. Kazuma Asogi. Why? Why was his name on that disc? The second is A Shin. Shin? I don't recognize that name. The third is T Gregson. Okay, Gregson, that... Gregson? Tobias Gregson, that's Gregson. Yeah, in Japanese, obviously, because it's not necessarily consonants next to each other, it'd be Gregson, which is just Gregson. Yeah, no. That's right. Hold on. Shin. Gregson. It would seem Tobias Gregson is the third man on the list. Oh, what's his name doing in a secret government communication as well? And the last name. Don't say it, don't say it. What's the matter, Mr. Sato? Please don't say my name. It's just so strange. So unexpected. It's either my name or it's her father's name. Oh, what is it, Susie? Don't keep us in suspense. I think it's the last name is J. Wilson. Oh. Iris's dad. Why is Iris's dad's name on this list? What? Wilson? John H. Wilson? You mean, Daddy? Well, that lives on the internet forever now. What kind of foursome is this? One person we don't even know. And a couple of dead guys and a vampire. Wait, no, vampire. No, an inspector. Sorry, I don't know why my brain was still stuck on Zykes. It says only J. Wilson, so I'm afraid I can't be sure. Then, after the four names, it reads, if I translate from Japanese, that is all four. And that's the end of the message. Or rather, the end of what you noted down, Iris. Because that's when Gregson stopped the message. I just can't believe it. Who would ever have thought that those discs contain Japanese Morse code? Not to mention a strange list of some disturbingly familiar names. It would appear that this particular message is a communication of some kind between Great Britain and the Empire of Japan. No, I absolutely do not want that racist vampire son of a bitch. He's definitely a pass. So, Daddy could be in Japan then? Where Susie and Reno come from? Oh, well... Is that the right time to tell her? I don't know if now's the right time to tell her. No, it's not really likely, really, is it? I mean, there are thousands of people with the surname Wilson. Must be lots of J's among them. Professor John H. Wilson, visiting professor of medicine at the Imperial Yume University. But we can't tell Iris about that now. We just can't. But maybe we should. Oh, this is so strange. Somehow it's solving the case of Mr. Windibanks' murder today. Ah, you know what? That's fair. I don't know if I want him dead. I want him to piss off. I feel like I've rolled back a boulder at the mouth of a very dark cave. I do wonder if perhaps it's a dark cave that we shouldn't go wandering inside. I thought there was always something weird. He kept talking about his mission, and then Strongheart, like when we mentioned that Cosmo had a mission to him, just like, oh boy. Oh boy, oh boy. Oh no. Oh dear. The ship is going to set sail soon. Yes, it seems so. I'll sail on that steamship first to the port of Dunkirk in France. Then I'll change into a larger passenger vessel bound for Japan. You're really going then, Susie? We wish you a safe passage, Mrs. Salto. Thank you so much. I wish all of you the very best. Mr. Sato, I hope to have you always at my side, to guide me and support me. Mr. Naruhodo, please, come back soon. As far as I'm concerned, you really are the very best judicial assistant in the world. And laws be damned, you'd be a much better lawyer than me, that's for damn sure. I'm quite sure I'll be back before you know it. Really, Susie? Oh, now don't forget, Iris. I made you a promise I've yet to fulfill. A promise? About your manuscript. Oh, yes. The Hound of the Baskervilles.
He'll be waiting for you then, Susie. A promise is a promise. Definitely, Iris.
Come on, kid.
Mr. Naruhodo,
Yes?
do you remember the first time we met?
Yes, of course. On the SS Burnia, when I was dragged out from the wardrobe, still half asleep. If I remember rightly, you threw me halfway across the cabin with a Susanoo takedown.
You know very well what I'm talking about after that.
It's strange. But being thrown together as we were in that case, I somehow felt straight away. Technically, we met back during the first trial back in Japan, before the Burnia, but that's neither here nor there.
That you were the perfect person to continue Kazuma-sama's great legacy.
Mrs. Sato,
And my instincts were right. I really want to believe.
no.
I'm sure that I'll be back soon. Farewell until then.
Farewell, Mrs. Sato. We shall see you another day. And that day will come immediately after this, because then we're going to start the second game. Ha, ha, ha.
Somehow we seem to have come to the end of the adventures of Ryunosuke Naruhodo. Or the first volume, at least. Looking back now, it feels as though fate has led me on this journey. Fate led me to becoming a lawyer, to traveling halfway
No,
around the
Punisher!
world, to meeting the great detective.
Don't worry, Maya. Iris has them all now. Iris already has them all.
I'm
That's
sure
fine.
there'll be trials and tribulations ahead. Of
No,
course.
no, that was an
there
Ace Attorney game. That was Phoenix Wright.
will. But whatever happens, I know I'll be able to turn my fortunes around.
Right, duh, the fourth boyfriend. I forgot about the
After
fourth
all.
boyfriend.
I have the greatest friends in the world on my side.
Right, okay. So, this is how the boyfriend square looks for at the moment. Okay, Kazuma and, Kazuma and Lord Von Zykes, they were the first boyfriends. Second boyfriends are belated and now Kazuma and Ryunosuke. Boyfriend pair number 2. Then, Ryunosuke came to Britain, and his boyfriend is Mr. Herlock Sholmes. But also his boyfriend is Mr. Lord Von Zykes, who was once boyfriends with Kazuma Asogi. And that is how the boyfriend square is complete. Now we just need Herlock Sholmes and Kazuma Asogi to be boyfriends, and then the circle will be complete. Ah, yes, Mr. Naruhodo. Yes, Mr. Sholmes? I have some other awkward news. The railway company has decided to sue over the special express train, apparently. Huh? It caused such a commotion on the line. All the other trains had to wait at stations. But really, we would never have made it to Dover in time otherwise. Anyway, I explained everything and how it was all your fault. Huh? I mean, a formal complaint should be delivered to your office tomorrow. Not to worry, my dear fellow. According to Mr. Soto, you love defending yourself in court. It's alright. I'm perfectly happy to testify. You really didn't look like the sort of man to do something so... Mr. Sholmes. Yes? A word, if you don't mind. Why, certainly. Any words you like. Below the top, my dear fellow. Oh, yes. I love Reno's words. I know just the one he'll use here. Then I really must say...
Objection!
Oh, dear Lord, what a ride this motherfucker's been on. Alright, let's see if we can... Should we skip? Oh, we probably won't. We'll skip it in just a moment. That was fun. I really liked that. Like, as always with Ace Attorney games, in the following weeks, hundreds of music boxes arrived at Baker Street from all over Europe. Oh, right. Something was afoot. So it transpired I had ordered them all myself. So I advertised them for sale with used by Mr. Sholmes to solve an important case. And the money I've earned, sorting detective work pays a pittance by comparison. It's a pittance by comparison. As always with Ace Attorney games, there's plenty of moments in the games where I'm like, you are all idiotic motherfuckers, I hate all of you. But then there's also a lot of, God, I love this. I haven't slept a wink. This busy hell easy cooks me breakfast. Well, cooks is an overstatement. Some dry toast and a sip of coffee. I do miss Susie and a lovely Japanese breakfast. Oh, right, this motherfucker. I forgot about Lucy. Witness, your testimony is riddled with contradictions. Exactly. Really, do I call on coins? I don't know. Wait, no. A, that was a very wrong voice. B, that's just a very wrong voice. I don't know, sir. Knows his father is an innocent man. Or are you calling my son a liar? A courtroom. Wow, this is, that was all the stuff from back in the first trial. Boy, it's been a long time since we saw those people. Also, I thought for sure the inspector, this guy, would show up in the entire game, but now he was just there for the first two. Having delivered the Russian dancer to shore in Shanghai, but last night I apprehended an extremely suspicious Japanese national on board. Oh, it's this poor fellow! Should was give one bring refuge. Man brings some kitten on board and suddenly he's a hardened criminal. It's not fair. That's his baby. This poor fellow can't catch a goddamn break. Right, strong card. Scientific investigation will be the gold standard for policing in the new age. In the new age, I dream of a world governed by the tenets of order and discipline. Like a great clock, in fact, whose hundreds of parts mesh together in perfect unison. Now, if you'll excuse me, I have but 2 minutes and 37 seconds until my next appointment. My next appointment. No, no. I like this guy at home. Actually, no. No, I like Osmond. This guy's weird. He's not nearly as kind. The latest one magazine is that whenever I say that one line she wrote now, I get a standing ovation. Want to hear it? Not bad, I suppose, for an amateur. You're really riding high on someone else's work, but that's fine. The leadership puts me to shame. I mean, that's definitely, I think we can all agree on that, that's for damn sure. Your shame and embarrassment, Gregson. It's a damn shame. Whatever happened to the oldest girl? You're a dad. Been visiting an old girl on Daily Basis, of course. Joni my jailbird. What's she? Battling with his body to say every day has done wonders for the dirt pig. Aren't you rather well with the housework too? Well, this maid business tipped up, I'd say. But the gospel really neighbors don't realize the man of the house is his own maid. You know what? If it works, it works. You do what you gotta do, I guess? Can it be 2 p.m.? Oh, it's these two. My Rowley's back on the beat again. Oh, thanks to the Reaper. There's nothing I enjoy more these days than hunting out small change in the gutter. Better Bobby now, looking out for Londoners that dropped high pennies and my lovely wife. Oh, Pa. Oh, Rowley. Can it be 10 p.m.? No, it is only 7:20 p.m. It's not 10 p.m. yet. Actually, no, I think about well. But yes, no, looks like I'm going to be doing time for a bit now. Very looking forward to Critical Role tonight. But Iris comes every day for Nata, so that ain't too button. She's always going on about all them cases of what Sholmes is looking into. Oh, also that Punishers don't want to be a work that's very fun. Criminal investigations are kind of interesting when you get into them. Yeah, no, work. Blah, blah. That was me yesterday. I worked a 10-hour shift. It hurt. It hurt so much. And I have to do it every week. I have to do it every week now. Good afternoon, wristwatch. Yes, I renounced my upbringing and chose a life of sophisticated crime. But regrets, please. Yeah, but bruv, I didn't actually used to know. We got Tom in here to plan to come back a meal with Lieutenant Skulkin's milk run, right? A 3 Muscahoozits. Milk in the neighborhood for all it's worth. There was... Okay, sure. So much has happened right there. That kind of surprised me, but I guess I shouldn't be surprised. This past 6 months has been a time I shall remember forevermore. Painful goodbyes, wonderful encounters. I kind of realized that's what life is all about. Not a Hodo-san, I promise. Your assistant will return to you one day. But for now, I leave you with many memories. And a heartfelt wish that life will treat you well. I mean, it won't, but you know what? The Naruhodo line is just full of bad luck. Fill in the eye. Fill in the eye. Let's fucking... Nope, okay, just to go on the picture. Aww. That's such a sweet picture. Hold on, we're just gonna screenshot that. It's adorable. Look at them all. Look at those boyfriends being boyfriends. Like, seriously, was that not incredibly gay to anyone else? Tell me I'm wrong. There's 2 gay men and their daughters. Nothing weird about that. Now this I might actually go ahead and skip on because I don't know. Oh yes, yes, good friend, yes. I'm almost tempted to see. I'm curious to see what this credits looks like, but at the same time, it's like you don't have emotions. I mean, that's weird sometimes. You. Who the fuck were you? And are we going to find out in the next game? Because what the fuck? I still have questions about you, ma'am. Man that's wearing a live swan with her goddamn hat. Oh goddamn it, I forgot my charger in my car. Oh well. Actually, you know what? Here in a minute, I might do a quick 1 minute, like 1 minute? Yeah, 1 minute ad break. Grab my charger. Do some walking around, do some stretching, because I probably need to. Then we'll come back, play for about an hour. Emotional part. That's fair. And then we'll... battery low? Little bit, yes. That's a good point, I should have that. That's a good idea for something later. Oh, yep, and that's when we lost to Sogi. Right! What was her name? Fuck. Her, she's adorable. A ballet dancer. And then they made it to Britain. We did all that stuff. Yeah, I think I'm gonna go ahead and skip this part just because this is... Just as you go on your lunch break. Oh no! Yeah, that's a good idea. I need to figure that out. The Great Ace Attorney Adventures. Finn. But we ain't done yet. Fleeting farewell awarded. I'm gonna write that down real fast. like charging or something or doing something. I'll figure it out. Emote ideas. Okay, up next we're gonna start up the Great Ace Attorney Chronicles, but first we're gonna walk around, stretch, get some water, snacks if you want it and need it. Oh no, my and we'll be back in 2 minutes to continue. Yeah, we'll be back in just a couple minutes with Great Ace Attorney Part 2. I believe it's called Resolve. And, yeah, we'll do that. I'm not good at transitioning anything, so I'm just gonna go. Alright, I'll see you in a couple minutes. Alright, we back. We return. If I try and load game, where does this put me? Play it continue. I'm sure it's not going to take me where I need it to go. I think I just need to. Yep, that's what I thought. Okay, nope, we're leaving. Didn't save. Let's return to the touchscreen. Yes. Okay. Doesn't automatically go into the next one. That's fine. Doesn't matter. All we have to do. The Great Ace Attorney 2 Resolve. You ate a sandwich in 5 minutes? How big was the sandwich? Also, the reason that I got that award right there is because I noticed in the extras menu of this game, there's a section for outfits, special outfits for Sholmes, yourself, Ryunosuke, and Susato, and I turned them on. Click.
Standing here in the bright sunshine, looking out over the vast ocean, those days in London seem like a dream. But I do miss my time in England's vast capital.
I do miss my time in England. Yeah.
You know, he's flourished into a truly wonderful lawyer.
Wait, that's small. Oh.
I've no doubt that at this very moment, he's fighting some noble cause in court.
Probably not. Hi, Mrs. Sato.
Forgive me for taking so long to come to visit you. My life has been such a whirlwind since I returned. And no one could have predicted what has happened. Just 2 months after arriving home.
I find myself faced with another awful crime. Her again? She's back! The witch
So
returned.
I came here today to ask something of you. Tomorrow, I shall be standing in court. For the only time in my life. As a lawyer.
Mrs. Sato! She finally gets the lawyer ability, the lawyer chance. Yay. Wait, what?
So please, I ask for your guidance.
Huh? Wait.
Kazuma-sama.
Also, I know I haven't necessarily even given. Yes, these are the iris outfits that she made. That is what they're called. The Adventure of the Blossoming Attorney. This is not what I expected to start with. You just inhale. I'm sure that's all you do. It's like, there's food in front of me. And now it's gone. Hack. Hurt myself. But anyways, yeah, so I gave them. I turned on their outfits. And technically, like, it makes sense that when they speak English, they're gonna be British because that's the English that they've learned, but it's easier for me to differentiate them. Here I am, after 9 months, the Supreme Court of Judicature of Japan. I feel so nervous, but I must steel my nerves and find a way to compose myself. Hello, Mikutaba. Oh, good. You're here. It doesn't do for a lawyer to be late. Oh, yes. Good morning, sir. I hardly recognize you. You've got a fine figure, Counsel. You look as white as a sheet. And those wide eyes aren't doing you any favors either. Oh, dear. The truth is, I'm so incredibly nervous. I feel utterly nauseated. Jesus Christ. I just remember when I was younger, like, I do remember one Christmas Eve, I just inhaled so much rice and some other things. I don't even remember what else there was. I just remember a lot of rice. There's a lot of other stuff too. Stuffing is what, not rice, it was stuffing. I don't know why I thought rice. I almost wish that I'd never been born. Goodness, how the sort of thing father hopes to hear from his daughter, I must say. stuffing, there was ham. Ham's good. Ham's good shit. Fusion Mikotoba, professor of medicine at the Imperial Yume University. A man who, in his life, traveled to Great Britain to study the latest adventures in forensic medical science. And of course, my brilliant father. Excuse me. Would I be correct in thinking that you ought to be my lawyer in court today? You ought to be my lawyer in court. No, I should order voicing. Yes. Yes, that's right, miss. Well, I want to thank you for agreeing to represent me. I swear on my life. It's a complete fabrication. This whole thing. Ray Mimbami, born the same year as I, and my greatest friend. How unusual for a woman in our time, she works at the university research laboratory, helping my father. And sadly, she's the defendant in today's trial, accused of committing a truly awful murder. Are you feeling alright? Since we started talking, you seem, well, to become a little flushed. Do one of y'all want to say it, or do I? Do you want me to do it? You can both do it. We can all say it. All together now. There's a sound alert for it, if you want to use that instead. I think you can do it with channel points. We got options of how to say it. Oh, you know what? That's a good sound alert. I should mark that. Well, actually, I don't know if there's a sound alert for it. Stick or leaf, whatever. I was gonna say it. You'll love to see it. Oh, well, it's just that it looks so gallant and dashing. What did I fucking say? Hey, look at that, we found Mrs. Hato's girlfriend. Wrong one, not that one. I mean, yes, but also no. Yes, that does apply. I know that's not the one I'm thinking of, but thank you. And when I fall under your intense gaze, that makes me feel rather bashful. Goodness, I don't think she knows.
That's right. I'm a gay robot.
Thank you, Maya. She doesn't realize who I am. It would seem our little plan for this trial is going to work. You're kidding me. No. Okay, you know what? I think I know what's happened. Shisato's wearing a disguise. What do you mean, Professor Mikotoba? If even your best friend can't see through the disguise, I think we can relax. Hydrate, you got it. Posture check. Stretch. Disguise? Yes, I never tried dressing this way before, of course, so I wasn't sure how convincing it would be. This does make me feel a little relieved, as you say, Father. Oh, thank you, Maya. Father? Surprise! Thank you for the head pat, Bonk. Huh? Is that you, Susato? I'm so sorry I didn't say something sooner, Ray. It's just that...
Surprise, motherfucker!
No! What are you doing? What's going on? What? That varsity uniform, that varsity cap, that varsity cape, that varsity badge. Look at you. You look for all the world just like a student of the Imperial Yume University. A male student. Not so loud, the bailiffs are gonna hear you. I'm so glad you think so. It means all my preparations have been worthwhile. I woke at 4 this morning to make a start. But I don't understand. Why are you dressed like that? Well, you see...
It was the only way. The only way she was permitted into the Supreme Court to take on your defense in this trial.
Right, women aren't allowed. My defense? Yes, thank you, Stream Elements. Subscribe today. Make me play spooky game in the middle of the night where I will undoubtedly have nightmares afterwards. And also just so I can play other games and such. And I feel weird. Never mind. Enough selling out. Never before in my life have I felt so frustrated having been born into this body. Courts in Japan are barred to women. Not even allowed to set foot inside the courtroom. Despite the fact that the laws of the land apply to all people, male and female alike. But women are forbidden. Just for today, I'll be leaving my true self at the courtroom door, so I can act as your lawyer. Oh, Susato, you'd go to such lengths for me? Of course. You're my greatest friend. I'm just worried that I shan't be the lawyer you deserve. Oh no, I have complete faith in you. Ray. It's so strange though. I mean, you're such an accomplished judicial assistant already. And yet just because you're a woman. What a wretched reason. I mean, why shouldn't you be allowed in court? You're so gallant and dashing. Ray. Please don't look at me like that, with those flushed cheeks and doting eyes. Someone's getting a little hot under the collar. A couple of someone's, I think. Oh, I'm sorry. It's just, you really do look so dashing. Yes, you mentioned that once or twice.
Oh, you should be pleased. It means you look convincing as a man.
I am pleased, I think. I certainly have to boast in my confidence today. Now here's a question, how the hell are we going to disguise the voice? That's a bit more of an issue. Ray, I managed to put on a brave face in all this, but I can see through it. I notice how your shoulders are slumped and how you're trembling ever so slightly. Susato, you do believe me, don't you? Don't you? I didn't do it. I couldn't have. I mean, murder. Of course. You have nothing to worry about. Your conscience is perfectly clean. Isn't that right? Yes. Yes, it is. Perfectly clean. I have absolutely no doubt in my mind about your innocence, which is why I'll stand by you until the bitter end in this trial. So, here's the problem. Not a polycule edition, because once we get to the court records, you'll see I'm pretty sure Shisato's still only 16, and that means Rei is too. So, no. For now, they're just girlfriends, and they're off doing their own thing. Unless they want to include Gina, in which case go for it, because she's also 17. But that's neither here nor there. They're kids, and we shall not speculate on that right now. Whatever happens, I'll always be on your side. Because that's what it means to be a defense lawyer. Yeah. Yeah, it's really hard to tell with anime. Like, it really is. Just the way the style is sometimes. That means so much to me, Susato. Because...
Defendant, counsel, court is about to begin. Proceed to the courtroom at once.
It's a good thing it's not a good thing neither of them ever heard they're talking about the fact that that's not a man. But
You should go in at once, Ray. If you're late, the judge won't hesitate to pronounce you guilty.
oh, stand aside. And aside. I don't think I've ever seen her run so fast.
Well, Susato, you've certainly surprised your father. Going to such lengths to be admitted into the courtroom, and with no prior experience of being a lawyer.
Trust me, she has plenty of experience as a judicial assistant, and in the courtroom, she'll be fine. Exactly. There's simply no other way. That's all there is to it. But Father, you haven't told her, have you? I mean, I'm right in assuming that Ray doesn't know how it came to this.
Yes, quite right. I've kept that information from her. It would only worry her if she found out that no other lawyer would agree to take her case. I don't want to burden her with that.
And is it true? The reason why every other lawyer is refusing to take the case. Is it really because of who the victim was?
We should be making a move now too. As you know, law is in my field, but I'll do what I can to support my students. Thank you, Father. Oh boy. I'm Susato Mikatoba, a judicial assistant. 8 months ago, I accompanied a student of law on a study trip to Great Britain. But 2 months ago, due to unforeseen circumstances, I found myself back in Japan. It's already showing him in the other outfit. How many times have I wished that he were here, I wonder? Still, I have no choice now but to steel myself for the trial ahead. Wish me luck, Naruhodo-san. August 13th, 9 a.m. Supreme Court of Judicature, Courtroom 1. The outfit I'm wearing very much does not say. I'm very curious now. Hold on. Hold on. Yep, save data, please. So I need to. Autoplay and story mode? Oh, it doesn't matter. I just saved, so we're good. I probably... Hold on. Just be safe. Despite the fact that I know I saved. I just need to see if she actually is in a different outfit. Because otherwise she's just wearing her usual stuff. I was like, what? Actually, no, I can keep these two turned on. I just need to see what what she's wearing. Oh, and yes, this is absolutely the wackiest thing I think we've ever seen from this man. That's saying a lot. Alright. Back to it. The court is now in session to hear the trial of Ray Mbami. Okay, I see we're starting with his hair down. Okay, cool. Weird. The prosecution is fully ready to proceed, Your Excellency. Yep, nope, there's the outfit.
Defense counsel, are you ready? Yes, Your Excellency. Yes, Your Excellency, we are ready.
Ready.
Oh, yes. Counsel, according to your registration details, your name is... Ryutaro... Ryutaro Naruhodo, is that correct?
Of course she took his last name. Ryutaro. Doesn't that just mean... I don't know. I know that Ryu is like dragon. Taro... Doesn't that just mean like little dragon or something? Hold on. I know Naruhodo is like... Naruhodo. Kind of like icy or something. Naruhodo. Yeah, Naruhodo is literally just icy. It's like icy. Naruhodo. Ryu. Yeah, Ryu is dragon. So, Ryutaro. Let me try this. Oh, it just means dragon foot. Okay, that's fine. Ryu Nosuke. Not sure. Ryu's favorite? No, that's not right. Yeah, who knows? Or at least that simple little thing there that I was looking at. But I feel like I remember hearing Wait, okay, so if her normal voice is, sorry, if she's trying to, I'm trying to figure out how to fake going higher and then going lower again. Sorry. How do I fake? Oh, I'm doing a male voice. Sorry. Oh yes, I'll come up with a suitable male name for you for this little venture. It was your idea? So I'm afraid to say I suddenly put down the first name that sprung to mind. Well, Consul? Yes, that's right. That's me, yes, I'm Ryotaro. You're vowed to uphold the pride of the great Naruhodo clan. Oh. It seems Ryotaro may need to reconsider how better to uphold his manly act first and not overdo it. And those wild-wide eyes aren't doing you any favors either. Just relax and listen. Naruhodo? A fresh face in the courtroom, if I'm not mistaken. See, there's a voice that I can get into easily. The answer is why. I don't know why, but I can. With the name Naruhodo, would that perchance be...
You may be thinking of Ryunosuke Naruhodo, currently in Britain as part of a study program. This is his cousin. That's right. Ryotaro has been studying in the provinces, but was called to the capital for this trial. I assure you, in matters of law, his knowledge rivals that of any of Tokyo's preeminent lawyers.
Any of them. Tut tut tut. What a pitiful situation. Having been rejected by every lawyer in the capital, the accused has had to call in a country boy. How dare you? We were so close. We were so close. So that was every bit as gallant and dashing as any Tokyo attorneys. I'll have you making fun of her. Oh, please be careful, Ray. What an unrefined tomboy we have here. But I wonder, is your gallant and dashing lawyer up to the challenge of defending you? His wide Skittish eyes very much suggest that he is not. I'm so nervous. When I'm standing in his shoes, I'm starting to understand what Naruhodo-san goes through. Like or not, eyes I want to flit. Oh, this poor girl.
The case to be heard on this day is a matter of great significance to our national interest. In fact, it would be reasonable to assume that the outcome of this trial may very well affect the very future of our empire.
That's what we said last time, too. Just like the trial 9 months ago. See, he remembers. Bastard. And yet, for proceedings of such importance, we have this unknown Yoko by the dock. Dear me. Yeah, fucking whatever.
Perhaps this would be an appropriate moment for me to assess the defense. To determine whether you are sufficiently competent to practice in this courtroom.
I'm having a hard time distinguishing a voice for these two characters.
9 months ago, when a certain other Naruhodo stood where you're standing now, the same judge tested him as well. And even though he was just a student at the time, not even of law, he passed the test with flying colors. For a trained and experienced judicial assistant like you, this will be easy. So, counsel, do you consent to answering some simple questions?
Oh, she took the cape off. Alright, it's time to prove myself. Oh, she did the thing! Yes, Your Excellency. Please do make them simple. That was adorable. That was great. I love that. She did the thing. I'm excited to see her do the hand slam thing.
Very well. To start with, you will state the name of the victim.
Yeah, that is simple. I couldn't forget that if I tried. Well,
what's the matter?
When I'm standing in his shoes, I'm starting to understand something else Naruhodo-san goes through. Like it or not. Minds I want to blank.
It's not surprising, really. It's your first time in this position and in that guise. Even a bright spark like you is bound to flicker and falter a little under the circumstances.
Oh dear. This is a dismal failure.
Don't fret. You need only use the knowledge you've gained as a judicial assistant to overcome the problem.
Of course. The court record. Yes, the answer will be amongst all the key information about the case in the court record.
That's right. Just use R to open the court record. What? R. There's a little button right there on your right. Just hit it and your court record will pop up out of the table.
Oh, that seems very advanced.
We are in a steampunk era.
That's fair.
Then you need to flip to the people section with R. And don't take too long over it. His Excellency is watching you closely.
Alright, check the court record with R. That's where the information I need will be. Time of death just after 2 p.m. Death is believed to be due to trauma to the victim's lung with a knife blade. Only a single wound was identified. Victim Giselle Brett, female, British. Ascertained by examination of witnesses. Single deep stab wound from behind, piercing a lung and resulting in a fatal hemorrhage. Death would have occurred within minutes. Extreme meiosis. Pupil constriction was observed in the victim in both eyes. Pupil constriction. Yuzhin Mikotova, a medical school professor at the Imperial Yume University. He is an authority in forensic medicine in charge of the university's laboratory. He also happens to be my father. My best friend, who works as an assistant to my father's laboratory at the Imperial Yume University. She's the defendant in this case. The victim in this other case, who was a former British exchange student. 9 months ago, she was found guilty of the murder of visiting professor Dr. John Wilson. The lead prosecutor of this case, who appears to be struggling to accept the changes afoot as a result of these turbulent times in Japan, the Meiji era. Giselle Brett. Yep.
I'm waiting, counsel. What is the name of the victim in this case?
Yes!
And just like Naruto, just like Ryunosuke. The name of the victim who lost her life in this case is Miss Giselle Brett.
You don't have to raise your hand, but also I understand why you did, because that's the thing Ryunosuke always did.
Giselle Brett.
A name that will never be forgotten in the courtrooms of our country, I'm sure. Correct. And being a member of our Empire's judiciary, you will be well aware of the significance of that name. So, let me pose another simple question. As you know, Miss Brett was a visiting student from the Empire of Great Britain. Why, then, is her name indelibly associated with our own Empire's traditional history? Obviously, you won't have forgotten that case from 9 months ago. But if it's proving hard to recall the final points, everything you need is included in the court record. Everything you need is included in the court record.
Obviously, I still remember. That was the start of everything. Giselle Brett. Behind the woman's student persona was the face of... We don't actually know that for I don't know if we know that for sure. I'm just gonna say, face of a killer.
Yes!
Hey, she did the thing! 9 months ago, a visiting professor of medicine at the Imperial Yume University was killed. And the culprit was... Giselle Brett.
Yes, she was a killer. At the time, our country had just signed a new treaty with the Empire of Great Britain. It was in the midst of this delicate diplomatic situation that the incident occurred. An Englishman, Dr. John H. Wilson, was shot dead. I believe he was an associate of yours, Mr. Mikotova. Professor Mikotova, whatever.
Didn't realize that the judge was talking.
Yes, I was indebted to the man. He'd been my mentor when I went to London to study forensic medicine.
Whatever, voices are hard. Fuck me.
Oh, indeed. It was I who invited him here to Japan as a visiting professor at the university.
My signature gestures? That's a good question. I feel like I'd probably do the anime, pushing up your glasses on your nose. But also, no, that's taking about a lot of annoying characters with glasses, maybe not. Mine might actually be more like, everyone here's a fucking idiot. It's like, it would be take off the glasses and put your head in your hands. No, that's 100% what it is, because I do that so much more than anything else. Is I just, glasses off, head in hands, complete and utter disbelief.
facepalm, essentially, yes. Just, but, like, very specifically take the glasses off kind of facepalm. Or something, yeah. Naturally, the murder of an Englishman on our soil was a matter the government wished to resolve rapidly. Indeed it was, which is why a secret trial was conducted here at the Supreme Court. A student of the Imperial Yuma University was arrested on suspicion of murder. A second-year English language student by the name of Ryunosuke Naruhodo. With the help of his best friend, the student lawyer, the accused conducted his own defense and exposed the despicable crime committed by Miss Giselle Brett. However, during the delicate situation of everything, she couldn't really be put in jail. Miss Brett eventually admitted to her crime. However, when questioned about the motive that drove her to take Dr. Wilson's life, she gave no satisfactory answer before the trial reached its conclusion. Immediately after the trial, the British government brought its consular jurisdiction into play. We were unable to sentence Miss Brett according to our empire's laws. It was decided that she would be removed to Shanghai, China instead. I do remember that. Why Shanghai? There's a British consular court there. Correct. I oversaw the negotiations personally. The date of her transfer to Shanghai was finally settled upon only last week. She's been in here the whole... Okay. All that remained of my empire's obligations was to see the woman safely on board a steamship. And yet, the very day before her departure, the Englishwoman was killed. Only the day before? But not by this girl. That will do. I'm satisfied that the counsel for the defense is sufficiently capable of representing the defendant. Oh. Thank you, Your Excellency. However, the first hurdle? Now, a summary of the incident, if you please. Prosecutor Aochi. Right, I forgot that he does this. As you wish, Your Excellency. The repugnant crime took place on the 11th of August in broad daylight. On the outskirts of the imperial capital, under a bright blue sky, at a secluded bathing spot by the sea. What? The incident occurred inside a small beach hut, erected for bathers to rest or change their clothes. Why? Wait. But why was... If she was to be sent to Shanghai the next day, why was she at a... Okay. The cause of death was a single stab wound to the posterior abdomen that pierced the victim's lung. An injury which proved fatal. There were two persons alone together in the beach hut at the time of the victim's death. Miss Brett in her bathing attire, and the accused, Raymond Bombi. Accordingly, there can be no doubt of the accused's guilt, especially when we consider she had a powerful motive. The police arrived rapidly at the scene and promptly arrested the young lady. Whoa. That extraordinary description of events leaves me somewhat lost for words, I must say.
That's certainly true. The prosecution's summary was full of words that raised an awful lot of questions. As a lawyer, I really ought to pick up the prosecution counsel on what he said about.
Yeah, this is kind of the most important thing together, is why were they alone together?
Nabami-san. Yes, what is it, Naruhodo-san? I'm really starting to wish he'd made my alias Ryotaro Sato.
Would have been easier.
Please tell the court why exactly you were present at the bathing spot with the victim in the first place, and why you were alone with her. Oh, well, no, that's not true. He wasn't like that at all. There were other people present. A detective who was guarding Miss Brett, for starters. I was just asked to accompany Miss Brett as a companion, that's all. But let us be clear. At the moment of her death, you were alone together with the victim in the hut. You and no one else. The truth is, there is only one reason why this young woman accompanied Miss Brett on her bathing sojourn. It was the accused's last chance to take the victim's life. No, because, as we know, the following day would see Miss Brett extradited to the British authorities in Shanghai. And the accused would never have an opportunity to dispatch her again. But, okay, I guess that makes sense, but... Kindly refrain from conjecture, counsel.
The prosecution counsel seems to enjoy using provocative tricks like that. But for now, at least, we need to assemble more facts. Try not to let him go, Jude.
Oh dear, this is really terrifying. Before this right, we need more information. As a lawyer, I really ought to pick up with the prosecution counsel on what he said. If I may, Prosecutor Aluchi. What do you want, you fresh-faced young yokel student? I wonder, could you explain, please? You mentioned that bathing spot. Ha! My apologies. Clearly my modernity has confused the poor country bumpkin's simple mind. I hate this dude. Bathing spots are the very latest trend in health practices from the West. We are told that bathing in the water of the oceans is curative, therapeutic, and excellent for the skin's... No, that's not what I meant. I was referring to the fact that Miss Brett had, to all intents and purposes, been found guilty of murder. What would a known criminal have been relaxing by the sea? Thank you for having the question I wanted to ask. For old time's sake, I believe. Sorry. Miss Brett was to depart for Shanghai the following day. Her final wish, as it were, was to enjoy a day at our country's wonderful coast. And the British Embassy put extreme pressure on our government to comply. That's weird. Is that not weird to anyone else? Does that seem weird? But on what grounds would we agree to such a request?
Because, as usual, our government is unable to stand up to foreign powers. In matters of diplomacy, it seems we don't even have the courage to decline the whims of a known criminal.
Don't look at me, Professor! It was the government who granted permission, not I. In any case, it was decided that with a dedicated detective on duty, nothing could go wrong. But in fact, a murder took place. I said don't look down, look at me! It was the young student girl who did it, not I. No one has proved that yet.
I want to provoke the man if you don't need to.
At this stage in the gallery. You're clearly exaggerating. Powerful motive is a blatant overstatement. Tut tut tut. Is the yokel boy using long words he doesn't fully understand? I beg your pardon. No matter. Let us put this to the accused, shall we? And Bonnie-san, you are a research assistant at the Imperial Yume University, I believe? Yes, I am. I'm working with Professor Mikotoba in his laboratory at the moment.
I can confirm that. The defendant is an excellent assistant with a strong sense of responsibility.
Fascinating to hear. Now, another question. Prior to your work with Professor Mikotoba, whose research were you assisting then? Oh, well, I was studying under Dr. John H. Wilson.
Dr. Wilson? The visiting English professor who was murdered by Miss Brett 9 months ago.
Oh, shit. Ah, boy. The accused had a deep-seated respect for her former mentor, Dr. Wilson. Is that not true? Yes. Dr. Wilson was a wonderful man. Interesting. Then tell the court what deep-seated feelings you had towards the Englishwoman who killed him. Well, obviously I was filled with hatred for what she'd done. A powerful hatred. No, Ray! Don't be careful of what you're saying. The motive was revenge. Plain and simple, Your Excellency. Well, that's a problem. They've already established motive. That's not good.
I believe we all have a clear picture of the incident now. Despite her guilt being determined 9 months ago, Miss Brett managed to avoid incarceration instead of continuing her research work at the university. Obviously, over that period, she and Ray would have had encountered each other on a number of occasions.
Seeing the murder of the mentor for whom she had such great respect enjoying such undeserved liberty.
Yes. You know, it was only temporary until Miss Brett's extradition to Shanghai. You can hardly blame Ray for her feelings of anger and resentment.
Poor Ray. So, Your Excellency, if you'd be so kind as to peruse this exhibit. A photographic print that shows the scene of the crime immediately following the grim incident. Why was she still wearing the swan hat and the mask? Alright.
Yes, thank you, Counsel. The tragic image.
Is her suitcase... Her suitcase just has a whole bunch of masks in it. Hello? As you can clearly see, there is nowhere within the hut that anyone else could have hidden. Except for the fact that we're not looking straight up at the ceiling, but whatever.
The court will accept this photographic print as evidence.
Photographic print of the crime scene.
As I understand it, then the victim and the defendant were alone inside the beach hut at the time.
Alright, we're gonna do a quick look. Got a bottle. So, this is a very familiar scene, considering she killed with poison last time. Swan feathers. Footprints, but that doesn't really mean much. What else we got? Clothing. There's her purse that's see-through. Is this wine? Why is there wine in the beach hut? That seems weird. But what's with the pin? Why is she holding onto a pin? Someone killed the swan too. That's sad. There's not much I can glean from this right now. Not without more information. But here's a question. If she was stabbed, where's the murder weapon?
This is deeply troubling, I must say. The finger of guilt points firmly at the defendant.
Well, Your Excellency, naturally the prosecution has much more to its case. We intend to prove the accused's appalling actions beyond all possible contention. To that end, I can confirm that we have multiple witnesses to the crime and damning evidence. Witnesses? But who? Also, once again, only 2 people in the room. How do you have witnesses? One of whom, I might add, is a highly respected police oh, goddammit. He's back! I assure you, the testimony of these witnesses will leave no room for doubt. Oh, right, the detective that was on duty. It was probably, what the fuck was his name? Higuchi? No, I don't think that's right.
Very well then, Counsel. Bring forth your witnesses.
I, Tagatsushi Aochi, have been waiting for this moment. Sorry. Oh yes, I haven't forgotten. That trial 9 months ago, here in this very courthouse. When that irreverent little student boy utterly humiliated me. For good reason, he was right. Ryunosuke Naruhodo. What? Yes? This insult to the Aoshi family name will never be forgotten.
You become conceited with age, Counsel. But the old have to stand aside and make way for the new.
Is there a benefit for me? Over the free sound alert? No. There is not, actually. The only thing that, where the sound alert matters is the ones that cost bits. Channel points are just for fun.
In the way of the world. It's the way of the world. May you never forget that.
I forgot about that. Strike the head of a samurai whose top knot has been cut, and the bell of cultural enlightenment tolls. How many times have you been knocked in the head in the past 9 months? Why not just Why not just tie it back up? Yes, on that fateful day, my former self died. The start of your own mini-Meiji revolution. I am modernizing as well, Council. Silence! Since I swore revenge back then, there has been a minor miracle atop my head. Observe the Aochi growth. You see the seed of hope sprouting forth from the barren expanse of my crown. I think the tiny growth is trying to tell me something. I'm afraid I can't really see. Where's the hope, exactly? I said silence. Today, I face another Yoko student of the Naruhodo clan. Well, I will vanquish you. And my victory will be fertilizer for the seed of hope atop my head. You have been warned. You're gonna rub shit on your forehead? That's what he just said, right? He's gonna... With that, the prosecution calls the witnesses to the stand. It looks like the stakes are high on both sides in this trial. The prosecution and defense each has much to lose. A haircut is hardly comparable to Ray's life. I mean, she's not wrong. Mother... Okay, there's a lot to unpack here. There's so many things to unpack here. Hold on, I'm just gonna take a quick water break. Inspector! First of all, Inspector, what the fuck are you wearing? Second of all, other dude, I for some reason don't remember your name right now. Welcome back to the courtroom, I guess? I feel bad for you too. Witnesses, please state your names and occupations for the court. Chief Hosonaga, Satoru Hosonaga, Imperial Police Bureau. In disguise, obviously, so I can go undetected. You know, okay, Maya, I think I was right. It's the face palm. Or even more specifically, it's like, I feel like I wish I could draw right now. But like, you know how sometimes people with glasses, like, if you like rub your eyes, but like pushing up your glasses a little bit, just so that just so you can like cover your eyes with your fingers or whatever. Like, that's essentially a face palm. That's my action. What I'm doing all the time. I can't with this man. I can't. Dude disguised himself as a damn turtle. And I am, well, the next big thing in books. An author renowned throughout the capital, in fact. Yes. Soon to be sold out, the satirical I Am a Cat, a sensational success by Soseki Natsume. Natsume, that's his name, right? Sato, please. Oh my goodness. Struggling student from the provinces, please. You needn't be in awe of me. I needn't. It's only natural that you feel nervous in my presence. But all of you, please relax. Call me Soseki, even. Yes. What on earth is Soseki-san doing here? Tread carefully, Susato. Arthur fellow knows you from your time in London, doesn't he? If he exposes you for who you really are, this will be over before it's begun. Yes, of course, I know. I presume Soseki-san won't have forgotten about me. I could certainly never forget him. Although he does seem to have changed somewhat in the 6 months or so that's been since I last saw him. This man is just, very interesting. As for Inspector Hosonaga, his amazing outfit is, hard to believe. Do I have something on my face? No. Also, this motherfucker, he's still having the towel as if he's a goddamn waiter, like the very first goddamn time we met him. Well, your glasses for one, although they don't seem to be helping you see. Thank goodness he hasn't recognized me either. I suppose it's the disguise, is it? Is it? I thought that appearing here in the clothes I was wearing at the time would make for a more faithful testimony. It is my guiding principle to carry out all testimonies flawlessly. Well, I can appreciate why an Imperial Police Bureau detective might have been present. What business did a writer such as yourself help you at the scene, Soseki-san? Well, you see, I had been asked that day to give a lecture on the morning of the incident in the Imperial University's Grand Lecture Hall, no less.
Yume University. After the lecture, I had a very pleasant conversation with a researcher from the medical science department. Professor over there, in fact. With Professor Mikotoba? Yes, that's right. It was arranged by one of the newspapers. They wanted some story or other about two former students who'd studied in Great Britain. Of course, being a renowned author, the press never leave me alone. They secretly spy, snapshot, scribble stories, and scupper my privacy. I'm so close. So close. As you can see, the conversation was written up in this newspaper here. Read it at your leisure, my provincial struggling student friend. I have plenty of copies. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. You practically threw that paper at me. Sasaki Natsume article has been entered into the court record. Anyway, following my interview with the professor... following your interview, yes, hold on. Oh, the kitten, it grew up. Oh, adorable. You'll love to see it. Alright, anything else? Is there anything actually of interest in here? What is this? The camera was cracked. That's interesting. I'm sure this will be important later, I feel like. The lens of the camera was cracked because that's definitely what that is, right? His special towel, that's right, he sleeps with it, he uses it to go to sleep. Anything else of interest in this image besides adorable kitten, cracked camera lens? Some berries in the background? No? I mean, there's this, whatever this is, but... Interesting. Anyway, following my interview with the professor, the lady in question appeared and made a very unexpected announcement. I should like to go with everyone to see your country's coast. Those were her words. As I explained before, Miss Brett was never taken into custody. She continued to work in my laboratory, under strict surveillance, of course. At which utterance, the university immediately contacted the government to seek guidance. And the response was, permit Miss Brett to go as long as a detective accompanies her. That detective, I am at liberty to divulge, was me, Chief Inspector Satoru Hosonaga. Thereby, the entire party departed cordially for the seaside, it seems. It was extremely challenging to clear all other members of the public from the vicinity of the beach. Why are you so sick? The poison was 9 months ago. But fortunately, I'm at peak physical fitness for the moment, so I was able to carry out my duty flawlessly. Okay, the first time we met you, I understood why you were, coughing up blood. Because you had some poison in your system by accident. The second time we met you, I don't remember you coughing up much of anything at the time, but... Oh my, Inspector, well, you do have something on your face now. How unsightly. I do apologize. Does that mean that you went to the beach too, Father? No. Fortunately, I had work to finish off. But unfortunately, of course, it meant that as my assistant, Ray was invited to take my place. Of course, being a renowned author, I didn't like to decline the invitation. But only if I had, I'd never have seen that awful sight. Relentlessly racked by remorse and regret. Hold on. He's not done yet. Give it a moment. Hold the pose there, Saseki. You're doing good. Man, you have some strong core. Has anyone ever told you that? You're holding that pose really well. Okay, I think he's just doodling now. We can go. Very well. I must now ask that you present your formal testimony to the court. You will give an account of all that you have witnessed on your impromptu excursion to the coast. Of course, Your Excellency. Relentlessly racked by remorse and regret I am. Witness testimony. Now, this might actually be a good place to start because I'm actually ending a little bit early, so I can make some dinner, and I'm gonna watch Critical Role in half an hour. Because damn. But this is just a good place to stop. And I want to say thank you, everybody, for joining me today for finishing up the first of the 2 Greatest Attorney games. We still got quite a lot to go. So let me see. Chat? Should I do chat? That sounds like a good idea. Why not? So, yes. Outro time. How do you do an outro? Who knows? Reminders. Sub goal still going for late night horror games. Terrifying. Working on emotes. It's coming. I promise. I swear. I know I keep saying it. No stream this weekend from me, probably, because Graydon Subathon starts tomorrow night. And oh dear lord, I will definitely be at least in chat for the whole thing, if not occasionally on in-game. So that'll be fun. Make sure you come out and check that out. That'll be good. I believe it's 6 o'clock Pacific time, which is 8 o'clock Central. Good luck if you live outside of those 2 time zones for figuring out the math on that, because I don't know it. Next week, back to Control, Greatest Attorney, Genshin Impact, good stuff. Until then, let's get a raid going.